You- Oh, no, not the camera again. Okay, everybody. Am I 5 by 5 and clear? Carol, okay. Have a fun day shopping. Alright, happy too. Good to see you. Damn. So what's the story on the update about Iran? There's no news yet. I thought today was the deadline for the settlement. And I want to let everybody know that we had our biggest show of the year yesterday. Over 500 views we got in. So thanks for supporting channel, and hopefully we'll get more people coming more every show now. I just can't believe it. Over 500. I remember at the beginning when I started, I was getting that all the time, but that was only a 3 hour show. What's 8 p.m. tomorrow? The deadline? Okay. I'm at you're early for once. You're off today? But yeah, I was real excited about that big show yesterday. Wow. A lot of people tuned in. I didn't think we'll get that much because it was Easter. Ooh. Heated Trump gets into a shouting match with New York Times. Ooh, we better play that. My first trip. There's an app called Vigo Live. And believe it or not, I think I'm liking thanks, Samantha. Yep. I don't know how I'm doing hanging on. 6 years and going. I'm glad we got the big channel back. Because all my backup channels, not everybody signed up to the backup channel. But since Trump won that lawsuit, everybody got their channel back. Very so Kay was telling me that email should work, but I hope you can get a Gmail account because it's better to reach. It's real easy to make one out, just like how I got mine. Let's do it the same way like how mine is. So we do got a 22-minute Billy out, and all the other ones, plus more and more and more. Okay, Maria. I got a couple real short clips about Trump being at the Easter hunt. He blew the whistle for the kids and everything. Still nothing from Mel. Starfire. I was telling everybody that yesterday was the biggest show of the year. Well, actually, 2 years. Over 500. So new time will most likely be 3 to 7. After I got all my stuff done, and I think the 3 times good. Yep, thanks, Maria. Yep. When I find all the intel, I get it out, and I hope everybody comes more every day, every day. So the first clip I'm doing is a 5-minute clip from YouTube. A guy or somebody had a clip on a nurse did a false video or statement about Trump thing or something, but I don't know if anybody saw that. Then we'll go from there. We'll get started here.
PPE and accessories. Well, welcome back. And it's been a crazy weekend. And over the weekend, we have these nurses and healthcare workers celebrating what they thought was, well, let's hear what she has to say because I'm not going to spoil it for you. Let's go.
You guys, he's at Walter Reed. He's at Walter Reed. He's at Walter Reed. They have pictures of him at Walter Reed. So for the people that are saying it's 4-4, then it's on 4-4. I mean, come on with the woo-woo.
Crazy.
Got to get the woo-woo going. Okay, the woo-woo is going to be this. First of all, get your outfits ready. It's time. You need your whole ensemble ready. You need the shoes. You need your party horns, your party hat. You need, if it's women, find something you can wear that you're totally comfortable. Like, I think we need to have braless, the NIPPLES.
Now, keep this in mind. She's a nurse. There was a rumor that the president was inside of a Walter Reed hospital, and this was all over the internet. And come to find out, it was not true. And these people celebrated. Like, here's a registered nurse. Let's keep watching.
Like always covering up in photos as if when we all have it, right? Let's just get them out there, girls. Let's just get the girls. Everything's going to be out there swinging in the wind.
This young girl, let me tell you what, she is amazing. well, in her character. She's very, what's the word? I'm trying to be nice, y'all. She's very uplifting. Let's keep listening a little bit because she's going to tell you a little bit, about herself and all that.
Okay, hi, I'm Mimi. I'm your resident Donald Trump hater. All right, I'm also a retired ICU nurse, and that comes into play because I just studied and restudied every single body part and pharmaceutical and every single brand new. I took the boards in 1986, and then I took them again in 2025. Yes, I took the boards, the NCLEX, twice in my life.
1986. She looks very young for 1986, doesn't she? I was like, 1986? That was a long time ago. She took the boards then, and she looks this good? Well, let me keep going here because I'm about to expose something here for all of you guys.
I didn't do that first video right. Let me do it like this. He's at Walter Reed. He's at Walter Reed. We need everyone. MAGA, you don't even know how bad. He's at Walter Reed. He's at Walter Reed Hospital. He's apparently at Walter Reed as new concerns about Trump develop. That's what I just saw on the Insta. Two different people said there's pictures of him at Walter Reed.
See, it's Instagram. It's all these other weird places that you don't see. They're getting the information, but her name is Shelly Donovan, okay? She's a sweet little old nurse, and she said it. She took the NCLEX twice, right? Well, this is a screenshot of all of her in her videos, and I was like, man, it just looked weird. I heard some people talk about the filter. They were like, look like she's having a filter on her face or something. It's just weird. And come to find out, it was a filter. This is her real picture, y'all. This is the lady behind the filter. When she said 1986, through all her videos, I thought, man, she looks good. I'm pretty old myself because, black don't crack, baby. Anyway, but it is what it is. People say you just had a birthday. I'm like, yeah, man. And I tell them my age, they can't believe it because I smile and I always give great and happy news. I don't give that evil stuff. Well, this is her also in a video, and she slipped. She slipped in a video because
okay, that's enough of that. She was saying about he was there at Walter Reed. Okay, let's do the short one here, 4 minutes.
They can file your.
Georgia's 14th congressional district will hold a special runoff to replace former Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene tomorrow. Trump-endorsed Republican candidate Clay Fuller is facing off against Democrat Sean Harris, who Greene defeated back in 2024. Harris earned about 37% of the vote in Georgia's special election last month. Fuller won roughly 35%. Let's bring in CBS News political director Finn Gomez. Finn, great to see you. Good morning. So who is favored to win this race tomorrow and why?
Good morning, Chanel and Vlad. Yeah, Republican Clay Fuller goes in as the heavy favorite, and it really comes down to the math. Look, this is the most Republican-leaning congressional district in Georgia. That's by the Cook Political Report. Fuller has Trump's endorsement, and in that first round, the Republican vote was split across a very crowded field. 22 candidates ran in this field, but now it's consolidated to 1-on-1. You got Democrat Sean Harris, a retired Army Brigadier General. He actually led in round one, but Fuller will be the heavy favorite in this runoff. As you mentioned, Harris has run here before. He lost to MTG in 2024, and Democrats are pointing to recent special election over performances across the country as a reason for hope. But make no mistake, Sean Harris has to pull off an upset tomorrow. He needs nearly a perfect storm, low Republican turnout, and high Democratic enthusiasm. And that's one thing Democrats keep talking about this cycle and last year is what they're seeing is a lot of enthusiasm coming from their base. But still, it's a big uphill climb, and the Republican is the heavy favorite here.
All right, so later this week, Finn, as you know, several possible 2028 White House contenders are appearing here in New York for the National Action Network Convention. What can we expect?
Yeah, yeah. This event serves, Vlad, somewhat like the opening bell of the 2028 Democratic primary, at least to a lot of Democrats that I spoke to. The NAN convention, which is organized by Al Sharpton, hosts a large swath of Black political leaders and potential 2028 contenders vying for Black voters. It's a constituency that is absolutely critical to winning in the Democratic presidential primary. Former Vice President Kamala Harris is expected to attend alongside Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, Arizona Senators Ruben Gallego and Mark Kelly, Maryland Governor Wes Moore, and Pete Buttigieg, the former Transportation Secretary under Joe Biden. But it is the largest cavalcade of these potential aspirants so far. So it's getting a lot of attention from political journalists like me. I did speak to some Democrats who plan to attend, and they say that Iran and the reaction to the Iran war by Democrats will be what they expect to be a top issue among those attending. Vlad.
All right. And Finn, before we let you go, I want to ask you, because tomorrow Wisconsin voters, we understand, will also select their next state Supreme Court justice. But it feels like this race isn't drawing as much attention as what we saw happen last year during the Supreme Court contest for that state specifically. So why is that?
Well, because there's a lot of other bigger races this cycle that are happening. And, we're in the middle of the midterms. So it's not getting quite the attention that it did before in an off-year election. However, in this election, you are again going to pit a conservative against a more liberal candidate. And it really is an early test to how voters are thinking in this key battleground state, not just in the midterms, but also in the presidential cycle. So that's why it's so crucial to kind of understand how these voters are thinking right now.
All right, Finn Gomez, great to see you. Thanks so much.
Great to see you.
Can we?
Okay, Georgia election. I got a few photos I want to share in a text thing. Anybody know about this stuff here? Stargate 10 in Iran has now been captured by the White Hats, Alliance of Military. The war can find end now. What was that one? So Disney did something there. Disney World has 10 days to return all bathrooms to gender specific areas in accordance with Florida law. In other words, they have to stop lifting the P word in wigs in the girls' room. Where is that one? I got one more photo I want to get. Where is it? Oh, there it is. One more photo, not a 5-minute one. So this says the reason is Majesty King Charles III did not give the Easter speech is because on Saturday, March 28th, 2026, he died. So I don't know if that's confirmed or not, but that's what they're putting out. All right, 5-minute video.
If you tried multiple oral antidepressants and
Hey, what's up, guys? Hope everybody's well and having a great day. I'm going to take you guys over to Astana, Kazakhstan in this video. You guys are going to see something quite incredible in the nighttime sky above the clouds. Appears to be stationary, at least in the video footage that was shared with me by Mark. It's above the clouds. It's a large stationary craft. I've analyzed a lot of videos over the years of a variety of mysterious things in the day and nighttime sky. This one here is quite remarkable. Here we go. This video has a little bit of narration as the witnesses were observing this thing high in the sky above Kazakhstan. It looks to be very symmetrical. Obviously, it looks like a stationary craft. It looks like we're viewing the bottom side of this craft that looks quite large. It's not making any sound. It doesn't have any blinking lights. And again, you can see it's just above the cloud cover. Here we go. Okay, that was the original unedited video in its original format. In this format here, I simply darkened it up a little bit. I was trying to pull forward any possible features on this large stationary craft that was just sitting in the sky, approximately 15 to 20,000 feet in the sky. Notice the collection of lights in between the bright symmetrical orange lights, and they have 90-degree angles on 4 of the orange lights. And then there's white symmetrical lights in between the orange lights. There's some sort of a feature back here that's not illuminated. And then there's a rogue light off to the top of this thing right there that's a slightly different color. What in the world is going on here? It wasn't moving, wasn't making any sound. Clearly not a helicopter or an airplane, at least not any type of airplane that I've ever seen. Coming up is a different format. Light is dark, dark is light. Again, I'm trying to pull forward any features that we couldn't see. You can see the light up here now is green instead of red. The orange lights are now blue. The white lights in the center are now gray. And honestly, what I was trying to do here was pull forward the body of this thing. Clearly, there's a structure here. We just can't see it all. We can see the lights attached to the structure that is parked in the sky above Kazakhstan. Wow, what an incredible video. And you can tell the witnesses were excited when they looked up and saw this thing just very quietly. Here's a still image. This is one of the better still images. I chose this one here as a still image because it was one of the clearest images out of the video. And you can clearly see these lights here in the center. They're not just rogue and random lights. They're in a perfectly straight line as if they have purpose, much like the front ones here with these angles. You can tell that they have a purpose. What that purpose is probably some sort of a flying machine, and we just can't see the entirety of the structure. That's probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 400, maybe 500 feet long. Once again, an incredible video just shared with me today, 4/5 of 2026 by Mark out of Kazakhstan. Thanks for watching. Have a super day and be safe out there.
Okay, that was a quick video from that guy. Okay, the next one is Oh, we got the lady from TikTok came out. 5 minutes on this one. She got
this the press conference that Trump just gave. It was amazing. Sometimes I don't care for his press conferences. He doesn't seem to go deep enough into what he needs to go into, I feel, to make people understand how serious this is and why he's doing it. This was completely different. If you missed it, I'm going to try to sum it up super quick for you. Okay, I made some notes. So the second pilot that we were trying to find, by the way, someone in the administration, someone there leaked that information to the media, which then put the second pilot's life in jeopardy. They were not going to let anybody know that there was a second person missing. That way, the Iranian regime would not be looking for this man, and they put his life at risk. President Trump, they are actively looking for the leaker. They're going to the media, and they're going to say, you're either going to go to jail or you're going to tell us who did this. So the media, once again, screwing up everything and causing problems just for ratings, okay? So Germany won't help. South Korea would not help. Japan ended up not helping. So President Trump made a statement that we have 45,000 people over in Japan, 45,000 soldiers protecting Japan. We have 50,000 soldiers in South Korea protecting them from North Korea, and neither one of these stepped up to help us. That's something to think about. They were asking him, basically saying things like, why are we going to take the oil from Iran? You know, they always got something negative to say. Well, this is what Trump explained and makes sense. He said, when we had the war in Iraq, we left Iraq. You know how fucked up that was. We didn't take anything. Well, what happened? ISIS came in, took all the spoils, as you say, and took over the country with what? 14 minutes of us leaving, ISIS took over Iraq. That's not what's going to happen here. He said, you know, back in the Victorian days and all that stuff, the person who won the war took all the spoils, and that's basically where he's at right now. Okay, this is another thing. He said that he has instructed and got word back to the Iranian people to stay in. Do not get on the streets anymore. Do not try to protest. They are literally on buildings. If they just see you walking out like they think you're going to protest, they shoot you between the eyes. He did bring up the Women's March, which I brought up a couple weeks ago. The women of Iran got together. They started marching against this regime. What happened? They started shooting them between the eyes, one after the other. President Trump said they got shot right between the eyes. Then during this, before they did the Women's March to intimidate them, they went to all the animal shelters and started unaliving all the animals in the shelters, the dogs, the cats. They went on the streets and started shooting any dog they saw on the street, any animal, to intimidate the women to keep them from marching. Okay, so then they're asking him, oh, aren't you going to be against the Geneva if you go and you target power plants and all that stuff? Basically, Trump's like, I don't give a fuck, basically, is what he said. He said Iranian people would rather live like cavemen and rebuild than live the way they're living now. He said the Iranian people are begging them to not stop, to please free them. They would rather build fires and live like that than live the way they've been living. This tells you a lot. This past Saturday, Iran hung more protesters out of the streets. So that is basically summing up the press conference. It was an amazing press conference. It lasted over an hour and a half. President Trump took questions from everybody. Iran has until 8 o'clock tomorrow night to do what they're supposed to do, or he is going to blow up the power plants. He's going to blow up the bridges. He's going to destroy them. So he's saying that, honestly, from what I'm gathering, that's probably what's going to happen. And I guess the United States will probably step in and help the Iranian people rebuild. We did give guns. We did send guns. They were taken. They were kept. He said he will not forget about that. They were not given to the Iranian people. So, guys, if you did not have a chance to catch that press conference, I hope that catches you up. He was very, very good with this press conference. He answered questions. Boy, he really put it in there. And for all the ones, the liberals in the audience that kept trying to ask these stupid-ass questions, he really reiterated they cannot have a nuclear weapon. Like, what part do people not understand? You over here fucking taking Iran's side, the regime's side, and you're worried about what we're doing to the regime, you don't seem to be clicking that they were 10% away from getting a nuclear weapon, and all the people do is chant death to America, and they unalive their own people. But undoubtedly, that doesn't sink in. Hope I summed it up for you. I'm sure you'll be seeing more.
That's another good one. Hey, Lucy, did you hear that one? I got a minute and a half one, and then I got a 5 or 2 short Nick videos coming up. This one.
All aircraft, we need air support. Don't kill me. We surrender. You win.
Oh, this was a good one, huh, you guys?
We don't have to see junkies and needles on the floor anymore. It's a new day.
That was a good one. Okay, we got 2 Nick videos.
Glasses out there. It's basically an automatic 20/20 vision device for your eyes. I mean, this thing.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've had some change of leadership at the Department of Justice. We might start seeing some accountability for the deep state. And ladies and gentlemen, we are getting word that Harmeet Dillon, who right now heads the Civil Rights Division, might be getting a major promotion to be either the permanent Attorney General, the Deputy Attorney General, or the Assistant Attorney General, which would give her quite a bit more power over who gets charged and what cases are brought and things like that. And I don't know about you, but I'm actually a pretty big fan of Harmeet Dillon because she doesn't just talk, she actually brings cases. And the left actually hates her guts, which is a very good sign. They think that she's a force to be reckoned with against woke ideology in particular. You know, she's been heading the Civil Rights Division, and she's been going after DEI. She's also got cases pending against, I think, 30 states over their voter rolls. And she has actually taken action when it is required or warranted. And so, ladies and gentlemen, with Harmeet Dillon potentially taking a higher position at the Department of Justice, it looks like she has plans to come after some deep state bad actors. And her first target, the one she's setting her sights on first, appears to be Mayor Mamdani of New York City. She has just posted about one of these policies that he's rolling out, that it sounds fishy and illegal, and that it's going to be under review, which means that this is going to be put under investigation under her watch. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what are we talking about here? Well, Mayor Mamdani appears to not be aware of the 14th Amendment Equal Protection Clause of the U.S. Constitution, because he's announcing that he's going to be unveiling a racial equity plan directing money and resources specifically towards Black and brown New Yorkers across city agencies, which means he's going to be allocating money and making budgetary decisions to benefit Black and brown New Yorkers and discriminate against Whitey. Listen to Mamdani explain in his own words what he plans to do in New York City, and you tell me whether or not this warrants a criminal investigation or a civil suit against the socialist mayor. Take a listen, and then you guys tell me down in the comments what you think.
Today's true cost of living measure confirms that the affordability crisis touches every corner of our city. We know that these effects are not applied evenly. So often it is Black and brown New Yorkers who are hit the hardest. This preliminary racial equity plan is the first step in developing a whole of government approach to tackling that reality. It is a plan that lays out these first steps to solve decades of neglect and discrimination, and it places the work of 45 city agencies within a singular framework.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are in New York City and you're struggling to make ends meet and provide for your family and put food on the table, I hope that you're not white, because Mayor Mamdani doesn't think that your problem exists. It only exists if your skin is of a darker complexion. And this is exactly why Harmeet Dillon is setting her sights on the socialist mayor, because this is a clear violation of the 14th Amendment Equal Protection Clause of the U.S. Constitution. And the Supreme Court has been very clear that just because a group of people has faced discriminatory practices or there's inequities amongst the races, it doesn't matter. You cannot enact policies that benefit one race over another, because two wrongs don't make a right. That's how the U.S. Constitution and the U.S. Supreme Court deal with matters like these. And in cases prior, stuff like this does not go in favor of people like Zohran Mamdani that try to roll out these woke DEI policies. So Harmeet Dillon knows that this is illegal, and she is setting her sights on the socialist mayor. And he could be facing some serious consequences for even attempting to roll out something like this. And I think that it's beyond time for the DOJ to start holding these people accountable, because clearly the message was sent by the previous attorney general that if you can basically do whatever you want and you're not going to face any consequences. That's why these people have become so brazen. You have people like Mamdani enacting racist, woke DEI policies, out in the open. And you have people like Tim Walz in Minnesota, who's not only setting up a massive taxpayer grift for a group of Somalians, but he's also trying to extort President Trump and the administration to, give federal funds to the Somalian community in Minnesota for the damage caused by the exposure. Can you believe it? So, ladies and gentlemen, this new changing of hands within the DOJ must come with accountability for the deep state actors. Otherwise, they're just going to continue to double and triple down. And that's what I think. But I want to know what you guys think. Let me know down in the comments section if we're going to start to see some arrests, or at the very least some charges being brought against people like Mayor Zohran Mamdani and Tim Walz. Let me know what you guys.
Okay, he has another short one, about 8 minutes.
You don't have to miss a moment. You've got better things to do than taxes. Have a local TurboTax expert file for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, President Trump just turned it up and put the screws to Senate Majority Leader John Thune with a single Truth Social post about the Save America Act. Now, we know there's been a big fight to get this bill passed, but there's been one man standing in our way, and that is the Majority Leader of the Republican Party. Now, John Thune has told us up until this point that we can't get the bill passed due to the filibuster. The Democrats will filibuster the bill, and that makes it dead on arrival because we can't overcome the 60-vote threshold for cloture. And when pushed to nuke the filibuster or use a talking filibuster to get it passed with a majority vote, John Thune has made tons of excuses as to why we can't do that, telling us that we just don't have the votes for a Senate rule change, and we don't have enough Republicans on board to nuke the filibuster. Well, President Trump just called John Thune a liar. Take a look, ladies and gentlemen. This is a reposting of a video that was created by the Freedom Caucus members in the House that are exposing John Thune's lies and telling the American people that, in fact, we can get this done without changing any of the Senate rules, and that we can actually get this bill passed with a 51-vote majority. Take a look.
The House Freedom Caucus led in passing the Save America Act in the House to require voter ID and citizenship to vote in federal elections. Now it goes to the Senate. You're going to hear the excuse that it needs 60 votes to pass there, but that's not true. Senate rules allow bringing the Save America Act to the floor at any time. If 51 Republicans show up, Democrats would have to filibuster, standing and talking, hour after hour, to block it. As long as Republicans show a backbone and stay united, Democrats will eventually run out of time to talk. Tell your senator to make the Democrats actually debate instead of just giving in to them. The House Freedom Caucus says the Senate should support President Trump and the House in passing this law essential to saving America.
So President Trump just endorsed this message from the Freedom Caucus, which puts John Thune in a very tough spot because basically they just called him a liar. He's been trying to tell us that we don't have the votes to change the Senate rules, but it turns out we don't actually need to. We can do this under the current Senate rules. John Thune can force a talking filibuster by simply not honoring the silent or zombie filibuster. And let me explain. See, I've been doing some reading and a little research, and this is what I wanted to present to you guys to make it super duper simple because, you know, ChatGPT can explain things in a way that I can't. So take a look here. Here's how this works. Yes, the Senate can force a talking filibuster. The silent filibuster is mostly a norm, not a hard rule. Now, Rule 19, Senate Rule 19, specifically says that each senator only gets 2 speeches per legislative day per question. Now, there is a difference between a legislative day and a calendar day. See, a calendar day is 24 hours, but a legislative day lasts so long as the Senate never adjourns. The day technically never ends until the Senate formally adjourns. So they can just not adjourn, and technically we're still in the same legislative day, and that can go on for days, multiple days, weeks, months. It doesn't matter so long as they don't formally adjourn. And as long as we're in that same legislative day, then each senator is limited to 2 speeches. Okay, so they can recess. They can even recess where everybody gets a little break. We can get some rest. We can get some food, but we're still in the same legislative day so long as we don't formally adjourn. Now, if we can stay in the same legislative day and force each Democrat senator to exhaust themselves with their 2 speech limit at that point, then we can get things moved forward with a 51 vote majority and not have to overcome that 60 vote threshold. Do you guys see how this works? Now, here's the kicker, and here's the little caveat that ChatGPT threw in there to remind me that it's not that simple. And here's the real reason why the Republicans are refusing to do this, because it's mutual assured sleep deprivation. The majority party, the Republicans, also get exhausted because you're forcing 24/7 floor staffing, constant quorum calls, leadership babysitting the chamber like it's a daycare at 3 a.m., and so essentially the Republicans have to remain on the Senate floor as well. They don't have to stand and debate, but they have to work harder than they are used to if we were going to try to pull this off. And that's why John Thune doesn't want to do this, because he knows that it's going to disrupt his day. But ladies and gentlemen, the point I'm trying to make here, and the reason for making this video, is because there's a lot of people out there that believe that what John Thune is saying is true, that we are beholden to the minority party's ability to block us and require a 60 vote threshold, and the talking filibuster or nuking the filibuster is simply not an option because we don't have the votes. Well, that is a bald-faced lie. And President Trump just exposed it. Now the American people know it. And now he's put a call to action out to Americans to not just call your senator and demand that they pass the Save America Act. Don't do that. Instead, call them and demand that they force the Democrats to debate on the floor now that you know they have this ability and that John Thune is lying to the American people. So, ladies and gentlemen, right now the Republicans are on vacation. They're having a little recess. They got their little Easter break, but they're coming back on the 13th. And when they get back, they're going to be in for a rude awakening now that the American people know the truth. So, ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor and share this video as well.
Okay, those were two good ones today. Oh, to come back on that evil number 13, right? 13 number. I got 4 short ones, and then we'll get Billy Bean up.
Investigation after racking up millions while she was in Congress. Senior national correspondent Kevin Cork has it. What's up, Kevin?
Good to see you, my friend. What's the old saying? Follow the money? Well, that's precisely what the House Oversight Committee is doing. They are probing squad member Ilhan Omar's skyrocketing family wealth, Jesse, especially in the wake of that $9 billion, some would argue $19 billion, Somali social services fraud scandal that exploded in her district in Minnesota. The oversight chair, James Comer, says his team's lawyers are exploring the extraordinary step of subpoenaing Omar's spouse over his curious business practices.
Ones who yell the loudest typically have the most explaining to do. So basically what is under investigation with Ilhan Omar and her husband are how that their business grew from 51K to 30 million in a span of a year or two. And there are a lot of questions as to how her husband accumulated so much wealth over the past 2 years. It's not possible. It's just not. And this is a guy who should know a lot about money and how these things work. Also, what I would like to point out is there were people behind the scenes that noticed something funny was going on. This wasn't the Trump criticism or the MAGA criticism. These were people behind the scenes saying, okay, something doesn't look right.
She definitely changed her format. She's getting better now with her channel. Agree with her.
By the IRGC Aerospace. It says, in memory of Tupac, kill Illuminati. Yeah, we're literally in a meme war. Listen up, we're in the most pettiest war ever. So this was put out by the IRGC Aerospace. It says, in memory of Tupac, kill Illuminati. Yeah, we're literally in a meme war. Listen up, we're in. Just before Easter, pine trees start their new growth. The tallest branches shoot forth, forming the shape of a cross. And this all happens right before we celebrate the death.
Well, she has music on her videos today. We'll see what the last one does. I don't think no music on this one.
Not. And his unhinged post on Truth Social showed that. He said Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day all wrapped up in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. Open the effing straight, you crazy, you know what. Or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. And then he says, praise be to Allah. Even if he's trying to mock their religion, this is something a Christian should never want to write down or put or say. He's really starting to look like King Nebuchadnezzar when he went mad. And now we're hearing that Iran is using North Korean weapons against Israel. So not only is Russia and China helping Iran, but now North Korea is as well. So Trump has given Iran 48 hours, which will end Tuesday at 8 p.m. And Trump threatens Iran with an end times holy war ripped from the book of Revelation if they don't make peace in 48 hours. And this is really all happening because his ego is being crushed. He can't play the markets anymore. So our economy is about to take a dark turn. Not only that, but America is about to be blamed for every other country's economy going down as well. And he says if they don't make a deal and fast, I'm considering blowing everything up and taking over the oil. I guess so much for helping the Iranian people. I hope y'all realize it was never about that in the first place. It was always about taking Iran's resources, just like Iraq. And the crazy part is he said this on Resurrection Day. This is definitely not a peace president. And people really need to wake up. I mean, what is it going to take? The whole world being angry at us and attacking us over here to wake up? Listen up.
Okay, finally, with no music. All right, we got Billy B in about 22 minutes. So that last one with that one, you guys, sorry about that one. I think she was being negative to Trump. So I'm not sure if you guys want me to play her anymore or not. She's normally positive about Trump. So I'm not sure if you get your opinion on her, you guys. Let me know.
Next time in Texas about 9 a.m. Some of the things we'll cover. The Wizzo climbed 7,000 feet with a broken ankle. President Trump, Tuesday, Bridge and Power Plant Day. And U.S. intel just in, Iran cuts all talks. So let's get started. So we have from space weather, including YouTube space weather, Ben Davidson, that some new white papers, science papers have come out further substantiating the contact between human health and what goes on in space. Very interesting. And we have this today, Artemis is on the far side of the moon. At some point, we will lose communications with Artemis for about 40 minutes. After Artemis resumes communication, it's believed they will begin to send back to Earth pictures of the far side of the moon. That will be exciting. We have this from U.S. Intel. So Sunday, there were talks between President Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, and contacts in Turkey, Egypt, and Pakistan with Iran's foreign minister. And Iran then advised at the conclusion of the talk Sunday to both Turkey, Egypt, Pakistan, and Qatar that Iran would no longer engage in talks with the U.S. and they would no longer engage in negotiations for a ceasefire or a peace talk or anything else. Iran no longer will receive any more messages from the U.S. So we see Iran, or the psychopaths masquerading as the government of Iran. Actually, it's believed to be the IRGC, the Islamic Republic Guard, that's calling the shots now from Iran and saying they will not engage in any more talks. So that happened late Sunday. This is Monday morning. And we have this. So we saw over the weekend, we saw Friday, Iran juiced up by a resupply from both Russia and China, able to hit several U.S. planes. And one of the planes taken down was an F-16 Strike Eagle. Friday, the pilot was rescued, but the WESO, the weapons system officer who had landed some distance from the plane and sustained, we believe, a broken ankle. Engaged in his training from the U.S. military, he was to move away from where he landed as soon as possible. We're hearing now that some people in a local village where the WESO went down sheltered him. I would speculate they gave him food and water, and that then he moved away from the village and began to climb 7,000 feet up a mountain. That's a testament to the relentless nature and training of the U.S. military. Now we're hearing today that those 20 of the people in the small village who sheltered the WESO have been arrested by the IRGC. So we need to be in prayer for those people.
You can beat cancer and still lose everything. Or you can have a little known policy that.
And we had also immediately, as soon as the F-15 Strike Eagle went down, that CIA that's embedded in Iran began to immediately engage in misinformation to lead the IRGC away from the location where the pilot and WESO went down. And we are hearing this, that the U.S. military engaged in a firefight, special forces with the IRGC besiege, who wanted to capture the WESO, who was 7,000 feet up a mountain. And we know that now we know the scope of the U.S. military's response. So Friday, the F-16 went down, pilot rescued, WESO hiding. Saturday morning, then the U.S. military engaged in one of the most massive, historic rescue events in U.S. military history that involved 76 planes and hundreds of special forces. We do know, and we now know, the U.S. military went 400 miles into Iran to build a temporary emergency base. They did sit down two C-130s, who are very heavy planes, each of which can carry 2 of the little birds, small helicopters used by special forces and their work, and that the 2 C-130s got stuck in the sand. Then the military sent in a large, lighter plane that could then take 2 of the small birds, not the total 4. And that then the U.S. military decided to blow up the 2 C-130s and the 2 little birds they could not reload. To do that, B-2 bombers came over the site and dropped 40 1,000-pound bombs to completely destroy both of the 2 C-130s and the 2 little birds, to prevent IRGC from getting their hands on U.S. technology. And we have this. Yeah, the CIA had immediately located also the WESO as soon as who was injured and still on the ground. And then we saw that triumphant message from President Trump after the very successful U.S. military rescue of the Weasel on Saturday. President Trump came out and said, "We got him." The U.S. military is engaged in the most daring search and rescue in U.S. military history. And the Weasel was being hunted by the IRGC. And his location had been in continuous monitoring by the U.S. military, including Secretary of War Hegseth, General Kane of the Joint Chiefs, and Admiral Cooper, head of the CENTCOM operation. And we have this from Ward Carroll. 76 planes were engaged in the rescue of the Weasel. That included 16 warthogs. The U.S. military had an additional 14 warthogs warming up in case they were needed. And that, the two C-130s got stuck in the sand and they were later blown up. So that's going on. And we have this. So the Weasel, with a broken ankle, managed to climb 7,000 feet and reach a ridge line where he hid in a crevice for about 36 hours from enforcer. We have that the U.S. now is prepping to obliterate Iran, and I gave you that current U.S. intel that came out just a few minutes ago, that Iran is not going to engage in any more talks with the U.S. So it's always good to let your enemy decide for himself that, yes, he's going to fall on his sword. So that wasn't a decision you made. Your enemy made it for himself. And we have this. The injured Weasel had a broken ankle. He climbed 10 to 12 kilometers or 6 to 7.5 miles up a mountain, 7,000 feet.
My partner shouted, "Our checking account is at zero. We're out of business." I told him, my Irish grandmother.
He reached a ridge line where he concealed himself in a crevice. And we have this from Times of Israel. The Weasel, while hiding, Israel also helped to put out misinformation. And also, Israel helped the U.S. with intel to help the U.S. know where to put down airstrikes to protect the hiding Weasel. And we also have, Israel helped the U.S. with intel. And we have this. So beginning today, April 6th, and early this morning is when Iran said they were not going to engage in any more talks. And we know Sunday, President Trump put out his on Truth Social. Tuesday will be Bridge and Power Plant Day, and he gave a specific time. Tuesday night, about 8 p.m. That would be U.S. time. So that would be several hours later in Iran. So we have today, April 6th. Israel is taking out more of the IRGC leaders. They've taken out one who was part of the Quds group of the IRGC in charge of targeting Israel. He's gone to meet his, 72 virgins. And we have this, and then today, Iran is hitting Israel, Haifa, with cluster bombs. And we have this. Israel helped the U.S. with intel to rescue the missing Weasel. President Trump is talking about he had tried to arm Iranian civilians early in this conflict. There is now confusion. Some U.S. intel is coming out that the U.S. gave weapons to the Kurds to give to the Iranian people, and that now some sources are saying that the Kurds stole the weapons and didn't give them to the Iranian people. However, it's also coming out a recognition by Tusi TV, which I did also know. There are several groups of the Kurds. One, PKK, that's the Kurds group that tried to assassinate Erdogan of Turkey years ago. That's a separate group. You also have Kurds who are Iranian nationals. They're from Iran, and they want a separate piece of land for a Kurds homeland. But they are a separate group from the PKK. We have a third group that appears to be in line with the IRGC. So it's unclear if the U.S. gave weapons to the Kurds group, which Kurds group did this happen, or did this actually happen? It's unknown. But we have that Iranian citizens actively helped in the rescue of the Wezo. They went out at night with their vehicles on, this is a mountain area, so there's sparse roads, and they knew the IRGC were coming, and they went out with their vehicles to block the roads. They also went out in their towns to just stand around to block the IRGC. So that happened. So God bless the Iranian people, many of whom are part of a citizen group called the Immortal Guard. And they are communicating all over Iran as well as they can with the internet blackout. So that's going on. And we have this in the rescue. The U.S. military received no casualties. Now, we're receiving conflicting information. I do believe that the special forces did engage in a firefight with the IRGC, and that video has come out showing dozens of IRGC dead on the ground. The U.S. military is giving no details about a firefight. President Trump has given warning to Iran. Tuesday is Bridge and Power Plant Day. And we also have, and beginning this morning, the U.S. is hitting Iran very hard. And we see Iran hitting Israel and some of its Gulf state neighbors. So that's going on. And we have this.
While America was distracted, something big just happened. The Federal Reserve quietly rolled.
But many, we're hearing about a civil war within the IRGC itself, and we're hearing thousands have defected from the IRGC as well as the Iranian military, and have abandoned checkpoints along the Iraq-Iran border. Now, this is where the U.S. rescue took place, close to this area where now the IRGC is not guarding its border. And we have in Lebanon, that's a nation adjacent to Israel, that Israel's been bombing, and the Hezbollah, a proxy for Iran, has been bombing Israel. The government of Lebanon several days ago told the IRGC ambassador and embassy to get out of Lebanon. Now it comes out that the IRGC, the Iranian ambassador refuses to leave Lebanon. Apparently, he doesn't feel it will be safe for him in Iran. So that's going on. And we have this. Yeah. So we know over the weekend, the peace talks were going back and forth between several countries, including Pakistan. And that Israel has hit a city today, Bagman, that's near the capital city of Iran, Tehran, where it's believed the disabled Ayatollah number 2 is located. So that's going on. That happened today. We don't know what the current status is of Ayatollah number 2 today. And that today, the U.S. military strikes in western Tehran near the international airport where there are located underground bunkers with missile storage. And that Israel today has also taken out an IRGC intel leader, Hadami, as well as other. Israel also took out today an IRGC Brigadier General Zohari, who was in charge of air defense. And that the U.S. and Israel have hit Sharif University, and let it be noted, all schools and all universities and colleges have been closed since this conflict began February 28 to students, but have been used by the IRGC. So today, the U.S. and Israel hit Sharif University located in Tehran to take out underground bunkers there. And we have this. We have about several Kurds groups existing. We have from Real Raw News. We heard recently in the past 3, 4, 5 days that President Trump and the U.S. military have purged 12 U.S. generals, including the head of U.S. Army, General Randy George. Now, intel comes out that February 28, when this conflict began, General Randy George went to his boss, the Secretary of the Army, Driscoll, and said he didn't agree that Iran posed a threat to the U.S. and couldn't support U.S. military action against Iran. That same day, the CID, that's part of the U.S. military law enforcement arm, CID, came to the home of General Randy George, located in Crystal Beach, Virginia, and questioned him for 90 minutes. So that went on. They have not charged him with anything yet, but he is in the process of being removed from the U.S. military. And we have this. So the U.S. military went 400 miles into Iran, near Isfahan, a major city, to build out a temporary emergency base from which to launch their a rescue of the Weasel, the colonel. In the intense and large U.S. military move 400 miles inside Iran, the U.S. incurred no casualties. And we have this from China Observer that April 2nd, Cuba has released 2,000 political prisoners. It's believed that Cuba is negotiating with the U.S. And for Blaze Real Talk, there are questions about whether President Xi in China is in charge. And it appears that the CCP may be positioning a new individual to take Xi's place. This individual is named Wen Jiabao. So that's going on. It's good to be in prayer for America, President Trump, the U.S. military, and world peace. I love you, and I'll see you soon.
Okay, another Billy Bean out. First one today so far. We got the next one is the YouTube funny lady talk about cooking, I guess. So we'll see what comes up with that. "24 minutes.
Experiment, Jack. This food that you're going to feed to people. All right, everyone. Today is the day we are digging into videos by a man on YouTube who appears to have a personal vendetta against texture and flavor. That's right. Today we're taking a look at the Cooking with Jack show. We're going to take a look at 2 different soup recipes he has that are potluck ready. One called garbage stew and the other called church chili. Now, I don't know what's more concerning, the fact that those are real titles or the fact that people actually sat down to eat this. Because when you hear something like garbage stew, you expect it to be satire, a joke, maybe a cry for help. But no, he meant it. Or church chili? Yeah, we're about ready to find out if that's a blessing or a full-on culinary sin. So go ahead and grab yourself a snack, preferably something safe, because after this, a lot of us might have problems trusting food again.
Okay, so this is another spur of the moment video, and I'm going to explain it to you in a minute. It's kind of sick and gross, but it should be good.
Just what I want to hear when I'm about ready to watch a cooking video from somebody giving me their recipe. It's kind of gross. Yeah, okay. I'm convinced that this is not going to be good, and this might be a mistake.
Come on in close. Let me show you this mess. Okay, so this is everything. Every time I go to do a video, I go through my fridge, I pull out all the old stuff. I either throw it out or figure out a way to use it. These are all left over from other videos. So let's, well, the bacon isn't. But let me run down and just show you what we got. I pulled it all out. So we got these sweet potatoes. This is the, I don't know if you saw the smoked turkey video. Smoked turkey. Not going to use it all unless I get a bigger pot. I got some leftover bacon. That's on its way out. The injected sirloin, the smoked sirloin's in here. I'll show you all that. I even put, when I did the smoked sirloin, I put Nathan hot dogs on there. Oh, I got to get rid of these. I got an onion. It's like ready to start oozing crap. I'm serious. If I don't use this onion today, it's going in the garbage, hence the name. The celery's starting to turn on the edges. This lime's starting to get shrivelly. The other one was brown. I had to throw it out. I got leftover jalapenos. I think that was from a nacho video.
So many of these flavors don't go together. He's got freaking smoked turkey. There's some injected meats that he's done something with. I don't freaking know. He's got jalapenos. He's got a shriveled up lime. He's got an onion that's about ready to start oozing things. Okay, so this guy is clearly not a chef, nor am I. But you don't have to be a chef to know that you have to cook with ingredients that actually go with each other. Otherwise, it's just going to be not good. I think I know where he's going with this, and we're going to see it through. So let's do it.
Here we go,
Did jalapenos even go bad? I don't know. Leftover Cajun seasoning. 1 beer left from one of my cooking with beer episodes. Got a salsa here that I bought for another recipe. I didn't even use it. Roasted red peppers. Does anyone remember how long ago that was? they're still good. They're good till 2016, which scares me. What else? Oh, I found a can of corn, sweet corn, that's going to expire any day. French onion beans and some chopped green chilies. This is not my.
Did he just say French onion beans? I think he means fresh cut beans. None of these flavors go together. He's got like some Mexican vibes going here. He's got Cajun seasoning. He's got beer. He's got freaking sweet potatoes and celery. What is he going to make? Well, I mean, I guess we know he's making a soup, but my God, that cannot even become relevantly close to tasting good. This is going to be a cluster of flavors. This is not going to work out. This is not good.
Idea of the perfect stew, but I got to use it all. So it's I don't want to waste any food. So I called it garbage stew.
Okay, I just want to interject one more time, and then we're going to see him put this disaster together into a pot. He says, I have to use it all because I don't want to waste food. Does he not think that putting all of this shit in a pot together and making a garbage stew, if it doesn't taste good, are you even going to eat it? Probably not. I don't like to waste food either, but I can tell you from personal experience, if I cook something and I don't like the taste, I'm not going to eat it. I can't. I can't. So he says he doesn't want to be wasteful, but he still is going to be wasteful because none of this is mindful. He's throwing way too many flavor profiles all in one pot. He would be better suited to use all of these ingredients over the course of the next week. I'm sure his oozy onion will still be oozy 4 days from now. Or you use the items that are going to go bad the fastest and you cook, 5 different dishes with all of these ingredients over the next week. This is not hard. This is not keeping food from being wasted. This is intentionally wasting food because it's going to taste like garbage. You know it's going to taste like garbage because it's in the name.
All right, we've deemed the onion is no good. There's stuff oozing out of it. I don't want to ruin the dish.
He thinks that using an oozy onion is going to ruin the dish? Oh, no, honey. Lots of other shit you got's going to ruin the dish more than that damn onion. If anything, the onion was probably going to give it some flavor.
Or make myself or my family sick. So I'll put the meat in the bowl here. All right. Cut up all the hot dogs. I don't know how I want the hot dogs. I guess I'm just going to do them. I guess I'll do them in just small pieces. Just like kind of like this. I'll cut up this turkey. This is turkey breast right here. I'm just going to start pulling the meat off like that. This is the dark meat. Get rid of the skin. And just start cutting up the meat. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take this lime. We're going to squeeze that in. So just take your hand and roll it on the cutting board. It gets it all juiced up. You can even feel how the juice inside, if you just squeeze it while it's sealed. We're going to take carefully, anytime you're cutting really hard food, you want to do it carefully. Or you can just do that, cut them smaller. You're going to want to cut them in small pieces. And I'm going with this method. I don't want to make a mess. So you want to cut them in pieces like that. There you go. And then this way they'll cook faster. Okay. You can just cut that up. You can mince that up. You can leave them, if you like big giant pieces, you can do whole pieces. You can do anything you want. And then celery, if you got celery, I already cut all the yuckies off the ends, all the brown. Celery is easy. You just hold it together. Don't take them apart. Okay, everybody. I had to make an executive decision.
And I find it quite interesting that he has clearly no idea what he's doing with food, yet he's trying to teach us techniques and how to do things. I am not a chef either. I am just someone who talks shit on the internet, but I can cut garlic a hell of a lot better than he did. Just saying.
My crock pot was not big enough for all my leftover garbage in my fridge. So I now have to go with my mom's old sauce pot, which I've used for many, many years. I love you, Mom. Thanks for leaving this to me. All right, first thing we're gonna do is put in the meat. It's all cut up. Bacon, hot dog, turkey, and sirloin. Next, the fresh vegetables, the French-style green beans, the sweet cream of corn, green chilies, which are not hot, by the way. They're like Ortega chilies. Roasted red peppers. I should cut those up. Should I? Nah. Jalapenos.
I should cut those up.
When a shopping cart
I don't
smashed
know,
my
okay.
headlight, we worried we'd have to fight to get paid for such a small claim.
And life would revolve around the shop.
Nah, just throw them in there. So you're gonna have a soup with giant red peppers in it? Okay. I mean, it's like he's actively trying to make this worse.
Little Cajun seasoning. A beer. Salsa. Can't forget squeezing the lime. There we go. All that lime juice, it's in there. Want to get that out. You know, I got some water and bouillon cubes, beef bouillon cubes in the microwave right now, dissolving. I'm about ready to add that in, but doesn't this look like it might fit in my crock pot? Doesn't it? All right, let's try it in the crock pot. Let's go back to the garage and go get it. If it doesn't fit, it's gonna be pretty darn close. I got a couple bouillon cubes in here, made a little beef broth. So I'm gonna pour some beef, or if you don't have any, use bouillon cubes in hot water. But I'm gonna pour this in here too. There we go. Okay, so I got it in my crock pot. This is a 5-quart. You're gonna do 4 hours on high or 8 on low. I'm gonna do 4 hours on high so we can have this tonight for dinner. So I got it going and I will show you what it looks like once it's all melded together. I'm gonna stir it every so often. Okay, when you have about 15 minutes left, I want you to take the lid off. You ready to take a peek?
No.
Take a peek. There it is. Look at that. Oh, it's beautiful. Ooh.
No, that's not beautiful. It looks like literal garbage.
Ooh, smells good. Take a grip just a grip like that of spinach. You can do kale if you want, but I'm not a fan of kale. So I do spinach. Throw the spinach in there. It cooks almost instantly. Nice and hot. Bacon, sirloin. Funny, the hot dogs flow. Look like a lot of hot dogs. There's not. Most of this good stuff's on the bottom anyway. Okay, now I'm so serious when I say go through your cupboards, pull out what you haven't used in a while, go through your fridge, pull out leftovers. I got a little bit of everything in here. Oh, I didn't get enough. Got to get some sweet potatoes in there. And at least 1 roasted red pepper. There we go. Hot, hot, hot. This is, like I say, if I didn't cook this today, all of that would have been in the garbage. That's why it's called garbage stew.
It's going in the garbage already because you're not going to eat that shit. Let's just be real here.
Okay, so let's get a little bit of everything. Oops. There we go. Oh yeah. Cajun flavor and jalapenos. Oh yeah. Make this dish. It really does. The hot dogs were smoked. So even though when you bite in a hot dog, it's like really good. The hickory flavor, everything's so good in this. This is definitely a hit. This is definitely dinner. I was afraid.
I was afraid, he says. We are all afraid. We were afraid the entire time watching that. If anything, that's probably going to put some hair on your chest, which most of us probably don't want. And yeah, it's no. It's a no. It's a no for me. It's a no for me. So now let's let him take us to church.
Hey guys, okay, today is my church event called the Chili Bowl. And what they do is they do flag football 7-on-7 teams, and they do a chili cook-off. So I've entered for the first time. I'm going to try and win the chili competition. I don't know. There may be 3 people that show up. There may be 100 people show up. I have no idea. All I know is that I've kind of altered some chilies and things I've liked in chilies I've done from the past. So I've got it right here. I'm just going to show you guys what I'm making. This will air after the competition. I'm probably never entering the competition again. So I don't care if people know my recipe, but I don't want them to know the recipe before the event happens.
Oh, no, we don't want people to know your recipe. Then they might copy it. I am going to predict the future here. There is no way in hell Jack is winning that chili cook-off.
Yeah, he will.
No way. No way.
Okay, so it's all awesome ingredients. We've got salt and pepper for taste, 2 cans of pinto beans. This is some of the magic. This is chipotles in adobo sauce. This is where the heat for my chili is coming from right here. And that's it. I'm not putting any chili powder in or anything. It's going to be the smoky goodness of this. And then if I need chili powder, I'll put it in. But as far as I know, this is the recipe. Final recipe will be down below. And then I got a can of corn, tomato paste, IPA beer, Laguintas.
Does he always cook with beer? What is up with him and cooking with beer?
This beer is an IPA. This is what I use on my sausage sliders, remember? And it foamed up, got all caramely tasting. This is an amazing beer to cook with, okay? Then you got diced tomatoes. You got 3 things of black beans, garlic, 2 jars of your salsa, whatever salsa you like. We're going to dice up an onion. I've got sweet Italian sausage. And then let's clear this off because this is what's going to win it for me, I think, is this beautiful smoked brisket. I cooked it for 12 hours. This is leftovers. You guys remember last year I had a smoked brisket and
Last year? Did he just say last year? Did you just say, remember last year when I smoked that brisket? Is this the brisket from last year? And you're using the leftovers in this abomination of a chili recipe that you intend to feed to people? People are going to eat this. People are going to eat this and vote on it. Oh, I'm embarrassed for him.
Renovation, meet innovation. With the Bathfitter PermaFit solution, we measure with laser precision so your tub fits perfectly over your old one. We install in a day with no demo or mess. Smart, cost-effective, and guaranteed for life. Bathfitter.
Bet you can't run as fast as T-Mobile. Bet you I can. Well, you better pick it up because T-Mobile now has the fastest 5G home internet. Watch this.
it was amazing. Absolutely beautiful. Look at this. Is that a work of art? Can you see that? Look at that outer crust there. That it's just gorgeous. So we're gonna cube this up and reheat all this, and this cooked for 12 hours. This is the meat. We're not using ground beef. Yeah, nobody uses ground beef anymore if you want to win a contest.
I use ground beef, and while I have not entered into chili cook-off contests, I tend to think that my chili is pretty damn good. And I do use ground beef. I don't use sweet Italian sausage and year-old smoked beef.
So we're going to dice up this brisket. Down below is the seasoning I used on this brisket and then smoked it on my Traeger for 12 hours. So you know everything I used. But the key ingredient on this, I'm going to tell you right now, I use ground Swedish coffee. And I think it was brown sugar and chili powder and onion and garlic. So, but it's the exact description is down below. All right, probably the hardest thing we're going to do is just cook our sausage. That's all we got to cook. Everything else is already made. So let's get that in the pan right now. Yeah, baby. Nothing like a sizzle.
Not that I'm trying to help Jack in any way, but if I were making this catastrophe chili, I would not be cooking my sausages like that. I actually use sweet Italian sausage every time I make sweet sausage rigatoni. I do not cook it this way. I simply take the skin off and grind it up like it were ground beef. That's how I do it, because they don't sell, at least everywhere I shop, they don't sell sweet sausage in like ground form. It's only in link form like this, but I just take a knife and I just cut the casing off and I just squeeze it out of the casing and I grind it up. Why isn't he doing that for his chili? That's what I would be doing with chili. I mean, you're already going to have chunks of stale, freezer frozen beef brisket. You might as well have some sort of ground element. It's chili. It's chili. Stop trying to get fancy with it when you suck at it.
I love it. Okay, this is when it gets interesting. This is when we put everything together. I love the meat. The meat's important. That's the key. So we'll put that much in for now. That's the brisket. Same with the sausage. I can't put all the sausage I want in. Most of it I can. That's about it. All right, maybe a little more. There we go. That's about it. Gonna drop my onions in there. Put my beans. There we go.
One thing he could have done to even just make this a little bit better, and yeah, I'm, and no, I'm not trying to be extra. I'm just trying to help him get a little bit of better flavor in these things. He could have rendered down those onions. Made this whole thing taste better. He could have rendered out those onions while he cooked the links. If he would have just ground them up, he could have he could have rendered down the onions, really brought out the flavor, but no. We're just going to chop up some raw white onion and throw it in a freaking crock pot. Okay. Continuing on.
Here's the corn. Tomatoes. The garlic. Pink. Let's see if I can shake out the paste. Come on. Come on. Too lazy to get a spoon. Come on. You can do it. Come on. Come on. That's what I'm talking about right there. Salsa. Oh, it's getting full. It's getting full. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to pour the beer in. Yes, it will cook off the alcohol. I'm going to be cooking a long time on this. There we go. Beautiful. Look at it reacting and bubbling. And then.
Look at it reacting. This is not a science experiment, Jack. This is food that you're going to feed to people.
The reason I'm going to take first place.
No, you're
because
not.
of this magic right here. Chipotle's in adobo sauce.
Nope.
Okay, so I chopped up all the chipotle peppers and the adobo sauce. It's all mixed in here now. I just took a quick little taste to make sure it's perfect. It's a perfect balance of everything. All right, so let me show you what the table looks like, guys. All right, there's all your spoons and all your cups. And I'm not going to tell you which one is mine. I won't tell you which one is mine. Not at all. I can't tell you which one it is. And here's the other one. There's number 2, number 3, number 7. Hey, what happened to 4 and 5 and 6? Oh, here's 5. Okay, we're kind of out of order here. Now, who's doing the judging? Who do we know?
Everybody.
Everybody's judging?
Yep.
Oh, okay, cool.
Every child.
What did he think? What did he think that there was like this serious panel of chili judges that were going to use their sophisticated palates and realize all of the elevated flavors that he put in his crock pot catastrophe? No, the people that are eating the chili are voting, you moron.
Child, adult, teenager, they come through and they sample, and then they write the number they want. They give it to Mr. Mark, and he calculates.
And nobody's going to try and rig this, huh?
Not on my watch.
Okay, guys, so here's the deal. I'm at the chili competition, and I can tell you right now I'm not going to win. Let me tell you why. Number 1, I don't cheat. But number 2, they're letting everybody here vote which one they think is the best, and I don't think that's good. I think you should have neutral designated judges. So I'm going to go on record saying that I'm probably not going to win today because I'm not going to tell Jack and his friends to vote for me. I'm not going to do that. So everybody's going to go over and vote for the best chili possible. All right, but it's all in fun. There's no prize. There's no...
Yeah, no, you're right, Jack. You're right. You're not going to win today because all the people are voting and there's not designated. Come on, give me a fucking break. Yep, that's why. That's why you're not going to win today. Not because your chili is probably the nastiest cluster that's sitting over on that table. Yeah, he's not number 1. He's number 1, but he's not number 1.
Okay, so there were some nice people. Great chilies. I didn't win first, second, or third place, and I'm just a regular guy still. See? It's all good. Somebody else won. Congratulations to the winners of the...
I am shocked. Jack didn't win? He didn't get first, second, or third place? Oh my gosh, it must be rigged. It must be rigged. And this is the only time he's ever going to enter because now his recipe is out on the internet forever. So he can't compete again because there's no other chili recipe that he can come up with that would be a winner. So if he didn't win this time, he's just gonna not even try again because it's rigged anyway. Yeah, okay. If you didn't want your ego blown, Jack, why did you even enter? And after watching that, I honestly don't know if he is just like feeding people or testing their survival instincts. Could go either way. Could go either way. For that reason alone, thank you for never entering another chili cook-off again. All right, if you guys enjoyed watching me suffer through this, make sure to hit the thumbs up button. That's
okay, everybody. Hungry for chili? Wow, that was a wild one. Okay, we'll get back to Intel. Cooking class is over. We'll do some short ones here. Did we play these ones yet? I can't remember.
I spent my career at the CIA and NSA and also advised other intelligence agencies. I now have my own corporate intelligence firm. All of these opinions are my own. This analysis is my own for entertainment purposes only. If you have not seen parts 1 through 3, go check them out. I know part 2 is not showing up for some of you. I will refilm it today. I think it's because I used ChatGPT to make 2 pictures to help tell the story on there in the background, and it just classified it as AI generated content, and some countries don't allow it. But it's all right. I'm going to refilm it. Part 4 to me is one of the most interesting pieces of this. Let's get into it. We're going to talk about Rally Forge. Before we get into the mess that is Rally Forge, I want to look at how much Turning Point USA is spending on this company. By the way, I'm only analyzing.
Sorry about that, you guys. I don't know which ones they were. I know this one is new.
That's how we're going to celebrate. I mean, is it really roasting if it's true? No. But my career at the CIA and NSA and also advised other intelligence agencies. I now have my own corporate intelligence firm. All of these opinions are my own. This analysis is my own for entertainment purposes only. You can see my full write-ups, deep dives, everything on Substack. I've done one about aligning behaviors to assets over there. If you want to go check it out. We are also launching a podcast over there next week. It will be a video podcast, and I'm very excited about it. So if you haven't already, please head over there. That link is in my bio. All right, so Erica Kirk's touring with JD Vance. I do not know how Usha is putting up with this shit, to be honest. I'd be like, get away from my man, you fucking troll. And I would be like, husband, what are you doing? You're taking your political career by aligning yourself to that loony bin. But they're not going to listen to us, are they? I don't know who's advising them because the only person that makes any sense over there is Susie Wiles. I was going to pick a chief of staff. That bitch would be my chief of staff. I promise you that. I am hoping that she is like, hey, Bozo, what are you doing? What are you doing? You need to not align yourself with Erica Kirk. I digress. Here's the thing. Erica Kirk flew her little happy ass over to Arkansas, met with Sarah Huckabee Sanders at the governor's mansion, and they hugged. Erica gave that terrible speech where she said that don't let anyone make you feel like a disenfranchised white male. Baby, no fucking white male thinks they're disenfranchised. Sarah Huckabee's like, I'm going to put a TPOSA in every high school. And Erica Kirk, because this hasn't been talked about a lot, but she went and met with the chapters. She met with the University of Arkansas chapter. She met with other chapters while she was there. And something happened. And a few days after she left, the largest chapter, the University of Arkansas, unanimously voted to leave TPUSA and start their own thing because they think TPUSA is using a dead man's name to move an agenda that he wouldn't even recognize. That's pretty telling. And the fact that they didn't say, hey, let's take a step back. You know, Erica Kirk, you're the CEO and chairman of the board who's supposed to keep the CEO in check, which is literally unheard of and so bad in a corporate structure, but whatever. Instead of doing that, they were like, we're going to double down and we're going to go to more universities. We're going to put this bitch in front of more universities. I truly do want to know if you support Erica Kirk, if you are still, I stan Erica Kirk, everyone else who's showing proof is off their rocker. I have to know why. Put it in the comments. I get bullied in all of my Erica Kirk videos, so I know y'all are out there trolling. So tell me why you support her. That's all I want to know, because I cannot fathom what is going on in people's brains. I have 2 children who will be able to vote in the next election. Okay. They have one of the biggest TPUSA chapters at their high school. They go to the TPUSA meetings to learn about what they're saying. And I love that. I want my children to know what is happening in politics. I do not care how they vote. And I actually want them to not vote party lines. Be educated in your decision. And that's what they're doing. Most of their friends are super left, psycho left. So I'm very proud of them for going to these events and learning. However, I will not allow a hypocrite to come and put any sort of information into how my daughters should be, act, what they should do, because in previous years, you were dating, you were talking about X. You are literally just a partier, which is cool. I don't care. I don't judge. I was too. But when it's not cool is when now you're acting like, oh, you have to dress a certain way and you have to do this, bitch. No. You don't get to prance around in your little bikini and then come and tell high school girls what they should do and think and say with their lives. This video is getting long. Stay tuned for my birthday week.
Okay, she's not. I haven't got any new ones lately. I got to keep an eye on her new ones. I got a photo. There's something you can go catch in the water there for fishing there, Flying Eagle. Something came down from the moon. Oh, I wonder who that is. All right, 2 more short ones, and we'll get we'll do Doug, I think, coming up.
Democrats are now shamelessly trying to pin the blame for Texas's devastating floods on our president, which has caused a blistering response, I can tell you, by the White House this morning. Before we dive into all the politics of it, I want you to listen to Congressman Buddy Carter. He shared his personal experience with the floods this morning and gets extremely emotional while doing so. The pain that these people are going through. Our prayers are with every family that has been impacted by this. I'll tell you, Texas is big and Texas is strong, and they are showing up in numbers to help their community. In fact, we're seeing incredible heroism. Over 850 high water rescues have already taken place. Listen to the king of heroism, Scott Ruskin, a first-year rescue swimmer, saved 165 people from Camp Mystic. That is the camp that everybody's talking about, where majority of the lives were tragically lost. Now, he arrived alone. He triaged terrified children, and he got them to safety. But instead, the left is twisting this tragedy for politics. Case in point, Chuck Schumer. He is now demanding an investigation into the scope and ramifications of whether staffing shortages at key local National Weather Service stations contributed to the catastrophic loss of life and property during the deadly flooding. I'm all for investigations, but the reason they're doing this is they're trying to say that because Trump made cuts, these stations were short-staffed, which then led to death. Senator Chris Murphy also jumping on board with this baseless claim, writing, quote, "Accurate weather forecasting helps avoid fatal disasters. There are consequences to Trump's brainless attacks on public workers like meteorologists." Now let's set the record straight. The National Weather Service gave flood warnings 12 hours before the rainfall. Flash flood alerts were sent out 3 hours before the river surged. So is Schumer and Senator Murphy calling national weather forecasters incompetent? Sounds like it. ABC's George Stephanopoulos, who, by the way, is just off a fresh $16 million Trump defamation settlement, he's also parroting the same lie, claiming the local National Weather Service office was short-staffed. Self-reported the New Braunfels National Weather Service office had extra staff during the storm. In fact, even a local Texas meteorologist backed that up, writing, quote, "All I'll say is this, the National Weather Service issued a flood watch for Kirk County more than 12 hours ahead of the catastrophic flood. A flash flood warning was issued for Hunt and Ingram 3 hours before the Guadalupe started to climb." So either George skipped checking the facts, or worse, he chose to ignore them. Caroline Levitt fired back. Exceed politicians. Here's another disturbing example. A Houston pediatrician was fired after she posted this on social media. Quote, "May all visitors, children, non-MAGA voters, and pets be safe and dry. Kirk County MAGA voted to gut FEMA. They deny climate change. May they get what they voted for. Bless their hearts." Thankfully, she was fired because we have no room in this country for that type of hate. Meantime, Texas officials also noted that many of the impacted areas had no cell service, making it left.
Okay, part 2 coming up.
Playing. Then the military comes through. The second I heard about this, I went to the park to speak to the person in charge to tell them it needed to end now. Absolutely outrageous. See, Mayor Bass, she just wants to paint this as a safe space for children when the reality is much different, as you can see by the people that are gathering around now protesting around the agents. That person missing a few teeth there. They're not accomplishing much. I mean, this park has been overrun by homelessness, drugs, and gangs, and it's an absolute danger zone, not a public space. Maybe the mayor should focus more on making the city safe and livable for law-abiding residents instead of defending those who drain resources and endanger communities. Congressman Pramila Jayapal, she's once again turning up the volume on anti-ICE rhetoric. And this time, it's not just dangerous, it's delusional. This is being terrorized. ICE agents. They have assaults that are up 690%, according to the Department of Homeland Security. And just as recent as today, a man in tactical gear launched an all-out ambush on Border Patrol. He was armed with a rifle, targeting federal agents. If we take a look at ground news, you can see how both sides of the aisle are covering the same story. So right-leaning outlets, they're calling it what it is, a targeted attack. They report the gunman opened fire, an officer was shot, and thankfully survived. Left-leaning media, they're calling it an active shooter incident. They say the officer was struck, but they don't say by what. I mean, they're downplaying the ambush and skip the part where agents were shot at. When you twist the facts this hard, you're not reporting anymore. You're auditioning for spin class. If you want to see stories from both perspectives and then form your own opinion, which I recommend you do, check out Ground News. I put the link down below for you in the description, and have a little fun with that one. All right, here's Tom Homan, who reacted to the shooting earlier. On the 4th of July, a police officer was shot in the neck while responding to a report of an armed group outside an ICE facility in Alvarado, Texas. 8 suspects were arrested, some in body armor. But while officers are under literal fire, Jayapal is out here offering a weekend workshop on how to resist ICE. She's not defending rights. She's flirting with anarchy. It's one thing to question policy, but it's another to coach people on how to dodge the law. If elected officials aren't going to respect the system they swore to uphold, why should anybody else? Here's Todd Lyons, the director of ICE, reacting to the Congress agency that was severely understaffed under the Biden administration, to say the least. And Todd Lyons did mention that the president's big, beautiful bill will help provide some funding so they can build their ranks back up and include crucial support staff as well as attorneys to ensure each individual detained gets due process. We'll continue to follow those developments. Let's switch gears now. Let's move to the economy. The president, as I said, signing that big, beautiful bill on the 4th of July. And Democrats, they continue to do their fear-mongering over Medicaid. In fact, over on CNN, Dana Bash tried to claim it's the Republicans who are the most vocal when it comes to concerns over Medicaid. And then it's footage from today in MacArthur Park.
Okay, that's the 2 new ones. I got 3 more new ones from today. We'll play later. We'll get a Doug video coming up next. Oh, he has. Damn.
Something to build toward.
Dan Bongino drops truth bombs on the Trump cussing scandal. That's not a scandal. I don't think anyone cares. Everyone knows Trump has a foul mouth. My dad cussed more than almost anyone I know. He loved me. He loved us. 13. Dan Bongino cusses like crazy. So this is a bigger picture thing about how people are going to judge Trump on saying bad words. And then they won't give him credit for saving the whole world from a giant Iranian massacre. They really don't care. They're just anti-cussing. This is a form of legalism, I think. Welcome to Doug in Exile. This is where the happy patriots are. I'm going to say that all the time because we are happy. I'm not here to judge anyone for if they cuss or don't cuss. Obviously, we don't largely endorse or like cussing. I don't want to hear it from my kids, for instance. I don't want to hear it from my wife, for instance. It's ugly. But to my friends, they do it. Doesn't bother me at all. Here's Dan Bongino.
Just curse. I'm not making excuses for anyone. If you're offended by it, you're allowed to be offended. I'm just telling you it doesn't bother me. We are dealing with the world's largest terror regime, a group of people trying to acquire a nuclear weapon who have killed thousands of Americans in terror attacks around the world, who would kill you tomorrow if you dared enter their airspace as a civilian with your LGBTQIA pride flag. You'd be thrown off a building instantly. You wouldn't even land in a plane. They'd blow the plane out of the sky. I didn't even realize cursing was a bad thing till I moved down to Maryland, and I was at a house party one time, and I accidentally dropped an F-bomb, and everybody stopped talking and looked at me like, oh my gosh, did he just say that? He's dealing with savage thug, the mullet theocracy over there.
We're never going to let Iran have a nuclear weapon. And if you think it's okay for people that are sick of mind, that are tough, smart, and sick, really sick, from a policy standpoint, from a standpoint, any which way you want to say, mentally, these are disturbed people. If you think I'm going to allow them, and powerful and rich, to have a nuclear weapon, you can tell your friends at the New York Times, not going to happen. It's a war crime, having a nuclear weapon. Allowing a sick country with demented leadership have a nuclear weapon, that's a war crime. And if I allowed that to happen, like 7 other presidents did.
Folks, these are animals, these people he's dealing with in the Iranian mullah class. I just don't care. It doesn't bother me. I just threw it out there in the beginning of the show.
But I'm with Dan on that one, too. It doesn't bother me, guys. Trump is out killing people that throw acid on women's faces, all right? And marry 9-year-old brides. Trump says the F word. It doesn't bother me one lick. It's like, get your priorities straight. So I never want to condemn you for other people who are more sensitive about it. But I have my own pet peeves too. I believe if you're trying to save money, but if you waste time, for instance, you clip coupons or you go all the way across town to save 49 cents on a tank of gas at Costco, I think that's immoral. You don't hear me calling you've lost your salvation, you're no longer in Christ. So you know what? Don't do that to the rest of us. Same thing with recycling. I think recycling is immoral. It's a waste of time, plastic, and money. But I'm not going to sit here and judge you if you want to recycle. You want to save money? You want to save money over time? You value money over time, which I believe is actually greed. There. Now I'm revealing stuff about myself I probably shouldn't be revealing, but it reminds me of this. This is more than just a cute picture. Let's get a look at, that's the beloved Miss Tenaple and I on Easter Sunday yesterday at a snooty, expensive meal. But aside from her being absolutely lovely, I want to point you to my tie. Look at my tie there. That tie I wear every Easter, given to me by my dad in the 80s in high school because he got it in 1972. He worked as a Sears auto mechanic. In 1972, as an auto mechanic, he would go and there was, as my dad said, I'm going to give you an example of his bad language. He said, I got this tie from a Jehovah's Witness colored lady that sells them in the Sears parking lot. There. My dad was the least racist guy on the entire planet. If you're going to say he's a racist or a terrible guy, then I have some expletives for you too. If you're trying to cancel out his salvation, he prayed for forgiveness of his sins every night when he came to the Lord very late in life. Gave me that tie. I wore it yesterday, and I always think of that story in the parking lot where he'd tell me a Jehovah's Witness colored lady sold this in the parking lot. And my brother and I would just make fun of him for the words that he happened to use. Okay? Better or worse? Here, Barack Obama never cussed. Here's Ro Khanna. You know what we really need? In Iran, we need Barack Obama in charge. Look, it's Ro Khanna. He's Thomas Massey's boyfriend.
Would you be okay, though, with leaving Iran without the Strait of Hormuz being reopened? President Trump has set that deadline for Monday, saying there are going to be significant consequences.
Okay, this is a yes or no question. Would you be okay with leaving Iran without securing the Strait of Hormuz? It's a yes or no question. He won't answer the question. He's a Democrat and a liar.
It's not reopened.
Let me tell you what won't reopen the Strait of Hormuz: threatening war crimes of bombing indiscriminately power plants.
That's not what she asked. She simply said, are you okay with leaving Iran without securing the Strait of Hormuz? And now he goes, I'll tell you what won't. That's not what she asked.
Cursing at Iran.
Oh, cursing at Iran. Ro Khanna is more offended at Trump cursing than the Iranian regime throwing acid in a woman's face, disfiguring her for life, forcing her to live under a hijab or a burqa, not get an education. You're evil. Ro Khanna, to be that obsessed with Trump's cussing is evil. Do you know who's not evil? Right here. I got a chapter ad read for you guys. This one's simple. Look how short this is. It's from one of you. Chapter is the real thing. Remember the Coke commercial? Coke, it's the real thing. No, chapter, it's the real thing. You can compare every Medicare plan. Let's face it, most of you are in the wrong Medicare plan. Everyone who calls tells me. Now, if you're in the right Medicare plan, then Chapter will tell you. The call is still free. Chapter will tell you if you're in the right Medicare plan, but you're probably in the wrong one. Chances are you're probably spending too much money. Some people in my audience have saved $3,000. You want to talk about going across town to get cheap Costco gas and you waste your time to save 49 cents? These people are saving $3,000 on a 30-minute phone call. Easy as heck. What's the number? Call my buddies at Chapter. It benefits this channel too. Call 631-961-8696. That phone number's first comment. We want to just save you money. We want to help you.
I forgot to turn that off. Dang it.
Released by the White House, the most gospel-centric White House statement of my life. They're the most pro-Christian administration. Yet Trump cusses more than any other president in my lifetime. It says this Easter, President Trump reaffirms America is a beacon for Christian liberty, Christian freedom. Now, this is going to go down a whole list of all the things that President Trump is protecting Christians at home. He's established historic White House faith office. He has established the new task force for eradicating anti-Christian bias to investigate and dismantle discrimination. He's pardoned Christians and pro-life activists who were unjustly persecuted by the Biden satanic Obama administration. President Trump declared in the official policy of the U.S. government that there are only two immutable sexes, male and female. Yes, this is anti-LGBTQ stuff. Worse than cussing is often what's happening in your church and mine, saying there's no distinction between men and women. President Trump banned federal funding for chemical and surgical mutilation of minors. The Department of Justice swiftly arrested dozens of radical left rioters who attacked a worship service in Minnesota. This list goes on and on, guys. It's too long to read in this episode. So again, keep complaining about his bad language. Meanwhile, Zoran Mamdani, this is just psychotic. This is so racist. He announces that a racial equity plan will be used as a whole of government approach to attacking affordability in New York. Quote, it places the work of 45 agencies within a singular framework. This is top-down racism. That's worse than cussing. I'd rather hear him say the F word and not try and do New York-based reparations. Here's RNC research. This is the Republicans were absolutely smoking the stats in the midterm. So all the doom and gloom, I think we're doing pretty good so far.
Take a look at this. Net favorability. Party ahead at this point. Midterm years with the GOP president. In 2018, Dems were up by 12. In 2006 on net favorability, which party you like more? Dems were ahead by 18. Republicans are actually ahead on net favorability at this point by 5 points. So Democrats are just simply running behind their previous benchmarks, and they need to be running well ahead of them if they want to take back the United States Senate.
America agrees. A Republican who cusses isn't as bad as a Democrat who doesn't cuss, because a Democrat's whole life is a giant cuss word. It's a giant F word. Just a messed up, jacked up. They're satanic. So even if they don't cuss, I would imagine Satan doesn't cuss. Here's Trey Yingst, exclusive. While the airman rescue was going on, CENTCOM, Central Command, Commander Admiral Brad Cooper directed a strike on the IRGC headquarters in an underground facility near Tehran. It was done with B-2 bombers, like the slowest. I mean, amazing hardware, but using MOPS, the same weapon used in Midnight Hammer last summer, high-level U.S. sources told. So we went and did bunker buster. We went into their headquarters, killed another layer of their leadership. There's probably no one even left to negotiate with.
These two operations reflect our nation's most sacred obligation to our military service members. we leave no one behind.
Here's J.D. Vance on our war saying it was never about money. This is about the amount of hardware that we lost in that rescue mission over one soldier. Some people are questioning why America would go to such extreme lengths and spend whatever it takes to rescue one downed airman. But this was never about dollars. It was about sending a crystal clear message to Iran and the entire world. The United States does not leave its warriors behind. It sends another message. All of us knew that if Iran, including the Iranian leadership and regime, they all knew that if they captured that pilot, he would be tortured and paraded on TV and used to extort America for way more than the $300 million that we spent for his rescue. The left would have run on this for months about how evil Trump is, how ineffective Pete Hegseth is, how they're guilty of war crimes, how sloppy and terrible and disorganized American military is. Thomas Massey would have run on this. Rand Paul would have run on this. Alex Jones would be slobbering about Israel over this, pointing your hatred at Israel for dragging in and killing this soldier. And Marjorie Taylor going, how do you feel about this family? Now this guy's being tormented on TV. Everyone knows the Iranian regime is so evil, they would have tormented this guy in the worst ways imaginable. That's how evil the Iranian regime is. That's what Dan Bongino's talking about. You don't understand if you're just angry at cussing. These people are animals. The IRGC, these Islamic radicals. By the way, my theory is I don't think they're going to concede to Trump by tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern. That's the deadline he gave. Tomorrow night is boom, boom on your power structure day. If you do not concede the Strait of Hormuz, they're not going to give it up because they're in a suicidal death cult. Here's the last little piece for y'all. I just hadn't seen this before. Satellite images show about 28 craters blasted into roads in Iran's Esfahan province near where the downed U.S. airman was rescued. The craters, each 9 meters wide, appear placed in a line to deliberately cut off road access. They're located roughly 20 kilometers from the remote airstrip where U.S. forces destroyed their damaged aircraft. The strikes were likely carried out to block Iranian forces from reaching the area during the rescue operation. So you're not going to want to drive your little stolen Jeep or whatever down this road with 9-meter holes in it. You're going, you know what? They shot it before. They've obviously got it zeroed in pretty dang well. Look at that straight line. That's our military, guys. Our branches of military are just the best in the world. Look at that precision. This is the mountain road going to the Ungabunga wilderness where the pilot was hiding in a crevice for a day. And finally, this one over here on the left, you can see, boom, boom, targeting the road that led to him. This is a brilliant operation. I'm so thrilled and proud of what Trump and Pete Hegseth, guys. It's enormous heroism. By the way, today is my son John's.
Okay, latest Doug video. The next spot will be a 5-minute one.
Treason, after Hegseth kicks him out of the Pentagon. Published by Real Raw News. Former Army Chief of Staff General Randy George was detained and questioned by Army Criminal Investigation Division, CID, agents just hours after Pete Hegseth demanded his resignation Thursday morning, Real Raw News has learned. General George, who joined the Army in 1982 and whose meritorious service included multiple deployments to Afghanistan and Iraq, was unceremoniously shown the Pentagon door upon arriving at his office. Hegseth, flanked by Pentagon Force Protection Agency, PFPA, officers, offered General George an ultimatum: retire gracefully or be fired dishonorably. Hegseth had pre-written a resignation letter for General George to sign, a Pentagon source told RRN. General George hadn't even a chance to sit down. War Secretary Hegseth and 2 Pentagon cops barged in, put the letter on his desk, and gave him a pen. Secretary Hegseth looked him dead in the eye and told him to do the right thing, or things would go bad for him. What I know, Jen. George felt ambushed, never saw it coming, and wanted an explanation. You know what it's about, Hegseth allegedly told General George. You're out, sign or don't sign, either way, you have 5 minutes to pack your shit and get out. According to our source, the once patriotic general had turned deep state. When Trump, on February 28, committed American forces to overthrowing Ali Khamenei, General George approached his immediate boss, Secretary of the Army Dan Driscoll, and urged him to persuade Trump to abort the attack and pursue diplomatic relations instead. But Driscoll said Trump had cemented his decision to attack Iran, and nothing would change his mind. A heated argument ensued, with George saying attacking Iran on Israel's behalf was tantamount to a war crime because Iran posed no immediate threat to the United States. First, we bomb Venezuelan fishermen in the Caribbean, and now this? No, I won't go along with an unjust war, and if you won't or can't tell Trump to stop this madness, I will. Trump's a cancer, General George shouted at Driscoll. One need not be Sherlock Holmes to deduce that Driscoll reported George's indiscretion to Hegseth, and that Hegseth reported it to President Trump. In any event, George was evicted from the Pentagon by noon Thursday and was seen carting 3 boxes of personal property to his car in the parking lot. Less than 3 hours afterward, he received what must have been an unwelcome visit from 2 sit warrant officers whose special arrest powers grant them authority to detain or arrest any active duty or retired military member, irrespective of rank or position. The agents rapped on the front door to General George's house in Crystal City, Virginia, and when he swung the door ajar, he asked plainly, "Are you here to arrest me?" No arrest took place, our source said, although the agents spent 90 minutes questioning him after reminding him that until out-processed, he was still property of Uncle Sam and, therefore, attached to the Uniform Code of Military Justice. The interrogation, our source added, included questioning George about when he started hating Israel and whether he had made disparaging remarks about Trump, Israel, or Benjamin Netanyahu on social media or to his subordinates. They also asked him to reconcile how a heroic combat veteran and lifelong officer suddenly betrayed the President of the United States. In response, General George told Sid he was a patriot despite his opposition to the war. Pejorative comments slighting Trump or Hegseth, he said, were off-the-cuff comments fueled by his intrinsic loathing of Middle East wars. We can dislike General George's turning on Trump and Hegseth, but can we dismiss him? He saw copious amounts of U.S. blood spilled on sand in Iraq and Afghanistan. It's probably etched in his eyeballs indelibly. Limbs lost, bodies blown to bits by roadside IEDs. Shit, how would you feel? Our source asked. The SID agents, after sweating General George for 90 grueling minutes, departed the home, but not before telling General George they might return to arrest him for suspicion of mutiny, treason, under UCMJ Article 94. We have no corporate advertisers, nor billionaire
dang it.
Philanthropists looking to support efforts to expose the deep state's evil agenda. Every donation, irrespective of the amount, is appreciated and helps ensure our survival in these perilous times.
Okay, that's Real Raw News video. All right, you guys. Well, if the first video didn't get you going on the Funny Lady on YouTube, News Force got the second one. So the second one must be good if News Force has it. Right, Kay? What we said earlier. So we're going to play that one.
Now they're messing with gas.
He's still not going to put
This
a
one
sign
is
on there.
14
So
minutes.
the next person's going to come up and get robbed if they don't pay attention.
It's running very slowly. It's not on.
That's not a theory. It's not a maybe. This is just straight up wrong. So lately, the gas prices have skyrocketed and people are out on social media voicing their concerns. Because inevitably, the cost of gas going up not only means that the cost of items will go up to transport them, but also in order for people to go to work, run their errands, everybody is having to spend more money on gas. But now people are over on social media talking about more than just their concerns with gas prices. Now we have people on social media exposing things things like pumps charging you for gas that you didn't even get, nozzles leaking while you do nothing and the price continues to climb, tanks mysteriously emptying faster than usual, and one gas station straight up charging double like nobody can do basic math. And listen, I'm not the kind of person that just jumps right into conspiracy, right? But when this many weird things start happening all at the same time, yeah, we're gonna look into it. All right, so we're gonna take a pause right here. And I want somebody to explain this to me like I'm 5 years old. Because if I'm standing there, not squeezing the handle, no gas is coming out, why is the number going up? How is the number going up? Why is the number going up? Like, I'm sorry, but in what universe are we paying for imaginary gasoline? And I know what some people are gonna say. It's the pressure, it's the calibration, it's a glitch. Okay. Cool. Then why is the glitch charging me? Because if the pump is wrong, the transaction should stop, not continue billing like it's on autopilot. And this is how people lose money in tiny amounts without even realizing it. It's not enough to like cause a big scene, or sometimes not even enough to be noticed, but it adds up. And there is not just one video of people showing this happening. There are more.
Ever wonder why your gas isn't lasting in your car? You're paying for the fumes.
It's running very slowly. It's not on. There's nothing on. But it's still moving.
My brother was pumping my gas, but there was no gas coming out and the pump was still running the meter.
Oh my God.
These are all different gas stations, all different cities, all different regions. It's not the same gas station. This is not an isolated incident. It is a problem.
Yeah, because I got all the trigger. Look at the gas coming out. Bitch. Look at this shit. Look how this gas is coming out. Look, y'all. Oh, hell no. I just got pissed off. Are you serious?
Nope. Nope, absolutely not. Why is the gas just leaking out? Nobody is squeezing the handle. It is just falling out. And someone is being charged for that. So we've moved on from maybe it's just a glitch to I'm literally paying for gas that never even entered my car. That's insane. And here's the thing. It's not even subtle. You can see it happening, which means either the equipment has been completely neglected or they're just simply hoping that people don't pay attention. Because if you're distracted, you're not watching the meter. And if you're not watching that meter, you're paying for a parking lot to get hydrated.
I know it doesn't look like much, but I literally just pulled out from getting gas. I literally filled up my entire tank and I checked it. Are you fucking serious? The price of gas is already twice the amount now, and it's not even lasting. It's not even lasting. I don't know if they're watering down our gas. I don't know what it is, but it needs to freaking stop. I'm tired of it. All my money's going down the drain.
Now, this is the part of the video where people start getting really suspicious. Because how do you fill up? And then suddenly you're a quarter of a tank down when you just pulled out of the gas station like 2 miles ago. That doesn't make sense. Now, I'm going to be fair here because not everything is a scam. There are reasons that this could be happening. Driving habits can change, more idling, they're blasting your AC. Short trips just burn fuel faster. But if you know your car and then suddenly gas is disappearing way faster than usual, you're gonna question it. Anybody would. And now people are throwing around the idea of watered down gas.
Everyone's been complaining about gas prices, but have you been paying attention to your mileage? This man was driving through his neighborhood when he noticed something and was then able to catch it on camera. Because as he was driving, he was noticing that his gas mileage was dropping significantly, starting at around 352 miles per gallon left. As he's driving between 15 to 30 miles per hour through his neighborhood, steadily watching this go down. This man was only driving a few yards and was losing miles from his gas tank, questioning if he had filled up with gas that was actually water. As having only driven a few blocks, his gas tank looked as if he had already driven over 10 miles. Just in the span of less than 1 minute, he went from 352 miles per gallon, ending the video with only 348 miles left, meaning he burned the gas that he should have burned driving 4 miles in less than 2 city blocks. What is this exactly that would cause the gas mileage to literally plummet when you are driving a slow and steady speed through a neighborhood? I was always under the belief that if you got watered down gas and your engine would sputter and like make noises as if it wasn't getting that consistent gas flow, this car was driving steady with no issues, except that this car was burning through the kind of fuel traveling feet that it should have been burning traveling miles.
All right, so peep this. Now they're messing with the gas. Ever since the gas prices have skyrocketed.
All right, gas station guy.
Hey, AT&T just gave me their best deal on the new Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra. I'm telling everyone.
I have noticed significant decrease in the gas mileage I get in my car. Now, a little context, I have a newer car with a turbo. I run premium. So for those of you that run premium gasoline in your cars, you know the difference between the points. And if you were to run, say, regular gas, you would notice a significant decrease in mileage and overall performance and things like that. Now, since these gas prices have gone up, and I Uber on the side, as a side hustle, so I pay very close attention to this kind of stuff. And I started noticing a few days ago that I had to fill up again in the middle of the day when I normally wouldn't have to fill up again until the next morning. And I haven't changed my driving habits, distance I'm going, anything like that. But since these gas prices have gone up, I'm about to run my third tank now and really test this. I have noticed that I am getting about 100 less miles per tank still running premium. Now, for those of you at home watching this wondering, hey, I wonder if that's a thing, I want you guys to do this little experiment as well. If you know what you typically get for mileage, you know, set your thing to be able to check the mileage you're getting during each tank. I want you guys to go ahead and fill up your gas tank and see if you're getting the same gas mileage as before. And I can guarantee you that you are not. So what are they doing? Well, I wish I had an answer to that, but I know I'm paying $5 a gallon right now, and I'm not getting the same mileage that I always get, and I got a brand new car. Make that make sense.
And then just today, EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin, if you missed it, in consultation with the Department of Energy, announced a temporary emergency fuel waiver to allow nationwide sales of E15, gasoline blended with 15% ethanol, to remove all federal impediments to selling E10 gasoline across the country. The emergency fuel waiver will temporarily waive the summer low volatility requirements and blending limitations for gasoline to provide additional flexibility to the fuel marketplace. So as far as tankers through the strait, something we're tracking very closely, but obviously the administration is coming up with creative new solutions by the day to keep the price of oil stable, something the president wants to see. And I know Secretary Bessent, Secretary Wright, Secretary Burgum, EPA Administrator Zeldin are all working together closely to find ways to do that.
4 minutes.
The real issue here is this: people don't trust what they're paying for anymore. And honestly, after seeing everything else, I get why. This next one I know is gonna piss some people off because it's not a theory, it's not a maybe. This is just straight up wrong.
So let's talk about this. $25 a gas, right? But 3.8 gallons of gas I got when it cost $3.63. The math is not mathing, and this man trying to give me $10 and make up the difference. We have a problem, and it's not just me, her too. They tried to tell her she was stupid, and it was her fault. You're crazy. You are crazy.
You said yours was still sweet. Right?
Well, it would be at least, yeah, because that's half. I only got half the gas, so. All right, thank you. Mm-hmm. He's still not going to put a sign on there. So the next person's going to come up and get robbed if they don't pay attention.
This right here is not just shady. It is illegal. And the only reason it works is if people don't check. Gas stations are required to charge the posted price. And the pump says one thing, the sign says another, and that math ain't mathin'. And the fact that multiple people had to go inside to say something tells you a lot. So let's take a look at the big picture here. Let's zoom out. We've got pumps charging without dispensing. We have nozzles leaking and billing you. We have multiple accounts of people questioning why their gas is not lasting as long and why they're having to fill up more frequently. And we have one gas station in particular going viral because they're just overcharging outright. And I'm supposed to believe that all of this is just coincidence? All at the same time, across different places. No, I don't. No. At this point, it's not even just about one clip. It is a pattern because whether or not they're just malfunctions, they're errors, or just straight up negligence, the one consistent thing is this: you are the one paying for it. So yeah, watch that pump, check your totals, do the math, because clearly somebody is out there hoping that you won't. And if you've experienced anything like this, let me know down in the comments. Because
God, now they're going to rob people from their gas money, huh? They're ripping everybody off. Okay, I want to do some. I got a lot of short ones now. Not sure if we played this one the other day or not.
On my other page that's about to come down. They violated it immediately.
6 hours ago.
And then I came over to this page and tried to be a little more discreet and put the information out there on who the real vice president is. And what did they do? They went and violated that one too on this page. So it looks like I'm going to write a book. That's all. I'm going to get my information out there, TikTok. No one's going to stop me. So I will just put some information in a small little book like the ones I've been writing, and I'll let you guys know when it's done. And I'll start tonight when I'm done with work. I'm going to push truth, and that's the bottom line. So people need to know who, if you don't already know, and I'm talking about this is for the sleepers, people trying to wake up, who the real VICE PRESIDENT is. So I'll start writing information and I'll continue doing it and sticking it in little books. If you want to get my other ones, the link is in my bio. There's 2 out so far. They're very small books, so I don't bore people. Keep it short and sweet. It's time to write another one. That's all.
Okay, that's one there.
And I'm putting one on this page. My other page is going to be coming down real soon. I know it. TikTok doesn't like me. I put up another tiny little book, The Real VP. So I hope you know who the real vice president is. Anyways, the link is in my bio. If you want to get it, go ahead. You have to copy and paste it. Once you pick which book you want, copy and paste it, go over to Google, put it in your browser, and it brings you right to the book if you want to. It's a small little book. Like I said before, I do not write novels. I don't want to bore people. So if you want to get that, The Real VP, that's in my bio. And I'll be back later. I'm heading back to work now. Have a great day. Stay awake. Don't stop pushing truth. Bye.
Yep. That's why we do this every day for 6 years. Here's one.
Trip to go around the moon and back, there is something wrong with you. I don't know about y'all, but I first heard about this a couple days ago. Like, if they were actually going to space, wouldn't we have known about this for 10, 5, something like that, like many of years before they actually went? I just found out about this a couple days ago, that they're going to the moon. Not to mention some of the photos that they have taken and sent back look faker than Kim Kardashian's ass. These 4 people are not going on a 10-day trip around the moon. They are not going to the moon, nor are they in space. Right now, they are in Hollywood, California, in a film studio, filming what we will see in 10 days. I just can't believe that we're in the year 2026 and people still believe this kind of stuff. Like, you turn on the news and you actually believe that 4 human beings are going millions and millions of miles away to a moon that doesn't even exist. They're flying around for 10 days and they're going to somehow come back all in one piece. Wow. I mean, the fact that some of you believe this is mind-blowing. If you believe that these 4 people right here are going on a...
All right. Moon update. Oh, can't play that one. This is a minute. So...
school year, almost all of them are classroom positions. The system is in complete freefall in every area, from academic achievement to incompetent leadership from you-know-who. A couple things of note. This year alone, BPS budget is $53 million in the hole. But every year they spend $190 million on busing. Hey, just eliminate busing, put that money back into community schools, and you'll probably have money left over. But they won't do that, because if they let kids go to school where they live, then the parents might stop by the school. They might drop their kids off and pick them up themselves and see what's going on in the classrooms. And what they really want is mind control over the kids. And you can't have that when parents are swinging by. And another thing, I remember when they were selling the people of Massachusetts on that millionaire's tax, all the money was going to go for education to help the children. We love the children. Yeah, how's that going, Massachusetts? How many times do you have to be lied to? Add all this to the fact that since 2017, BPS has bloated the home office with administrative positions far more than teaching positions. Look at this graph. If you see that top line there, yeah, that's the administrative costs over the last 9 years. That middle line, that's instructional staff. And that bottom line that's slowly declining, that's enrollment.
You just get
so fewer and fewer kids, more and more spending. This isn't an education system. It's a government jobs program, and it's failing at both of those things. Get your kids out of these cesspools. This whole thing is run by incompetence.
Yep, she just gave those minute video. All right, I got the Dallas news lady.
Actually, I'm Christina Awayo, and listen here are your top stories. Arizona has advanced legislation to ban illegal migrants from using banks, getting loans, sending money back to their home countries, or accessing other financial services. Arizona Republicans in the House Commerce Committee voted 6-2 to advance Senate Bill 1421, which will ban illegal migrants from using the state's financial system and stop them from sending billions of dollars back to their home countries every year. The bill passed the full Senate on a party line vote, 16-12, with all Democrats voting in favor of illegal migrants. Before clearing the House Commerce Committee, It targets loopholes that have allowed illegal migrants to open bank accounts, get loans for homes, businesses, and cash. Okay, here are some of the details of the bill. Financial institutions like banks, credit unions, lenders, and check cashing businesses are banned from accepting any identification card or license issued to an unauthorized alien or illegal migrant. They also cannot accept IDs that look like the ones issued to citizens but are marked to show that citizenship was not proven. Loans cannot be made to applicants using individual taxpayer identification numbers without social security numbers identifying the borrower as a citizen. Lenders may request an ITIN after a lawful loan agreement is signed if the borrower cannot obtain a social security number under federal law, but ITINs can no longer serve as the primary ID to approve the loan itself. Businesses who are authorized to send money to foreign countries, like wire transfers, money orders, etc., from Arizona may not process the transfer unless the sender provides proof that he or she is not an illegal migrant. Each month, these businesses must submit confirmation to the Arizona Department of Insurance and Financial Institutions, DIFI, listing every person who sent money to a foreign country and who had the required proof. DIFI must adopt rules on acceptable documentation, can demand records at any time, will conduct random quarterly audits starting July 1st of 27, and will impose civil penalties, 25% of the transfer amount, for violations. Complaints from the public trigger enforcement. Okay, guys, I just want to take a quick second before we get back to more news to tell you about a company that I've partnered with, Chapter. If you or someone you know is on Medicare, you need to listen up because there have been quite a few changes this year and it can get really confusing and time consuming. Plus, often you don't know if your rep is pushing a plan because they're getting kickbacks. With Chapter, you don't have to worry about that. They are experts on all things Medicare. They work on salary, and their goal is to get you in the right Medicare plan for your lifestyle. A 20-minute phone call that's completely free will put you in touch with a company that could save you a ton of money, time, and frustration. Give them a call, 347-960-3244, or go to chapter.org/Christina. That's 347-960-3244, or go to chapter.org/Christina. I trust them. Give them a call and get what's right for you. It has now been 2 years since Baltimore's Key Bridge collapsed, and virtually nothing has been completed on the rebuild. Costs have doubled, and completion date has been extended to late 2030. Wasteful DEI contracting practices are to blame, according to the Trump administration. The Francis Scott Key Bridge collapsed into the river in March of 2024 after the container ship MV Dolly slammed into it, killing 6 construction workers and severing a major artery for one of the nation's busiest ports. Democrats led by then President Joe Biden and Maryland Governor Wes Moore promised to quickly rebuild for the bargain price of about $1.9 billion, vowing that traffic would be moving again by 2028. However, as of this month, bureaucratic red tape, federally mandated over-engineering, and skyrocketing material costs under Biden-era economic conditions has slowed down the progress. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy has flagged the project as wasteful DEI contracting practices, saying they produce little more than preliminary work, doubled or more price tags, and set a new target opening date of that 2030 date. Virtually none of the replacement structures exist. The project is stuck in demolition, testing, and pre-construction phases of work that experts say should have already been wrapped up. Demolition started July of 2025, which is over a year after the bridge collapsed. It's incomplete. The design is 70% complete 2 years later, and 0 superstructure or piers for the actual replacement span are complete. The rebuild has added 2 full years and more than doubled the projected cost, now $4.3 to $5.2 billion. Republicans argue this is why merit-based contracting, streamlined permitting, and private sector urgency matter, saying America is used to building big things fast, but when government, as usual, steps in, things don't get done. A northern Kentucky woman and her mother turned down $26 million to sell their part of farmland, saying they do not want it turned into a data center. Ida Huddleston, 82, and her daughter Delcia Barr, who together own about 1,200 acres of prime agricultural land, turned down the multi-million-dollar offer from an undisclosed Fortune 100 company that is representing artificial intelligence interests. The family has worked the soil for generations, even through the Great Depression, and they don't see any reason to sell it to the unnamed tech giant. The developer wants a section of land that includes 71 acres of the property belonging to Huddleston and 463 acres belonging to Barr. The developer offered about $60,000 per acre for Huddleston's portion, which equals about $4.26 million, and $48,000 an acre for Barr's land, pushing the total to $26.5 million. The family was first approached last year with so many follow-ups that Huddleston says it's quote unquote mind harassment rather than a straightforward business deal, saying, quote, I said, I don't want your money. I don't need your money, but I do feel sorry for everybody around us. They're going to be affected by it. The company has refused to publicly identify itself, a red flag for the landowners who say the people behind it must have a hidden agenda. It has promised to create 400 full-time jobs and over 1,500 construction positions. But Barr doubts the permanence, saying, quote, you won't have over 50 and they won't even be here at this building when it's said and done. I say they're liars and the truth isn't in them. It's a scam, she said. Developers have made deals with other willing sellers and filed zoning requests to rezone more than 2,000 acres of agricultural parcels. AI facilities can consume as much electricity as a mid-sized city and use hundreds of thousands of gallons of water daily for cooling. Projections show U.S. data centers could claim 6.7% to 12% of the nation's total electricity by 2028, which is up from about 4.4% in 2023, while permanently paving over large tracts of productive farmland. That's what you need to know in Dallas. Christina O'Wine.
Okay, Dallas news for today. I got 15 left, and I got like 15 short videos, you guys. Get all those in. So she just came out with her new one today. 4 minutes.
AG. If you've seen my previous videos, you know that I think Todd Blanche was in charge of the cover-up the entire time. I think Pam Bondi was just a mouthpiece. So I want to talk about his involvement in some of this Epstein stuff, and it's really dark. If you want to see the full deep dive investigation, head to my Substack. I posted it 2 days ago. So a little bit of background. Todd Blanche was a federal prosecutor in New York, actually in the same district that the whole Epstein file stuff was going on. So he was there for 8 years and then went private. So he left for Big Law, he made partner, and then in 2023, right before Trump's arraignment, Trump put him on the defense team, and the firm that Todd Blanche worked for, their ethics committee said, no, yeah, this is a violation, you can't do that. Todd Blanche was like, bet. So he left, started his own firm, registered as a Republican because he was a Democrat until then. And then he defended Trump across 3 of his trials, the hush money trial, the classified documents trial, and got upwards of $10 million, his firm did, from Trump, Trump's super PAC, actually. So it was donor funded. So donors to Trump's PAC actually paid Todd Blanche $10 million. Trump wins the cases, and Blanche goes on to become deputy AG. As soon as Todd Blanche takes over as deputy AG, he calls up New York and he says, hey, send me all the Epstein documents. We're taking it from here. Daddy's home. Then he goes and interviews Ghislaine Maxwell for 2 days. She says there's no client list. There's no blackmail. Trump never did anything wrong. And then she gets moved to a cush prison in Texas with a puppy. Todd Blanche said it was because there were threats against her life, but that typically gets solitary confinement, not transferred to a minimum security prison. That doesn't even make any sense. Pam Bondi testified just in February that she wasn't aware that this happened. So they did this without telling the AG. Interesting. And she was told that Ghislaine wouldn't be moving to a minimum security prison, but what they did, they moved her to a minimum security prison. Sex traffickers, yeah, they don't get that treatment. They're never supposed to be in a minimum security prison. So there are so many things wrong with this, but it gets worse. I want to talk about Operation Chain Reaction. In 2010, the DEA started an investigation into Epstein, drugs, prostitution, money laundering, what they investigate. This was a separate investigation that the DEA was doing, and the task force that was doing it are the same people that took down El Chapo. By 2015, that investigation had tracked $50 million, 6 million of it Epstein had purchased, like meth and ketamine and drugs, and they found like 15 different targets that they were going after and 2 institutions based on this investigation. They produced a 69-page memo that gets released in the Epstein files release, but it is all redacted. Senator Ron Wyden is like, hey, I want to see this unredacted version. And the DEA was about to hand it over to him before Todd Blanche personally stepped in a few weeks ago and said, nope, he stopped it. So you're telling me that they can go, the senators and House committee could go see any unredacted files they wanted. But this one, Todd Blanche personally stepped in and said, it's an unclassified document. And the DEA was about to hand it over. But one more thing, because this unit, it's the OCDETF unit, the largest organized crime task force that we have, over 37,000 investigations. Well, in 2025, this administration was like, no, you're done. Budget zero, and they cut them. So the same unit that was investigating Epstein's network was all of a sudden disbanded. Make it make sense. So Todd Blanche gets $10 million from Trump's PAC to represent him, gets made deputy AG, is head of the cover-up of the Epstein files, and nobody's holding this man accountable. And then a few days ago, he told us that we needed to get over the Epstein files. We needed to move on from them. Maybe our foot is on your neck now, and you need to be held responsible for your part in this. What a piece of shit. Stay.
Okay, yep, that's her video for today. Oh. DJ, guys, about 4 or 6 minutes, I think. I'm not sure. I got 3 of him.
Also known as Rattletrap 1776 in the house. So today's going to be a fun one. So I'm going to break down these two recent quote unquote Hunter Biden interviews, which was not really Hunter, but if you're new to all this, then you can catch up. Where we go one, we go all right.
6 minutes.
So this is like a 2-part thing. So for all those who've been following me for a long time, this is right up your alley. This is right for you. This is just for you. This is your vindication, your validation, your verification, your everything. This is the one you want to go show your friends and your family that told you, but you got to do it compassionately. We know, but I don't know. You got my personality, then the playground is free to roam, and you can do what you want to do. I would personally tell them, I told you so. But you can choose your own method of delivery, or you can just show them this video and I'll do it for you. I'll be sure to add all the little chuckles everywhere it's supposed to be. But, when I was growing up, my dad and mom and grandparents always taught me to do what's right from the start. If you do what's right from the start, then you never have to worry about anything. You don't have to worry about being paranoid. You don't have to worry about looking over your shoulder. And then you don't have to tell a lie that has to tell a lie, that has to feed a lie, that has to tell a lie, that has to feed another lie, that has to, you know what I mean? Just be a human being. Be a good, decent, moral, upright human being. And what you've seen in the last 35 years of your life, especially depending on how old you are, everybody has seen people go after each other for stuff you can't prove, one, unless there's what? A court record of it. Law enforcement, right? So we have to reestablish that in society again, is that, no, don't wait 40, 50 years till someone's in position, power, status, or money to go, oh, he tried to kiss me in the hallway 47 years ago, and you didn't do anything about it then, and you're bold now. See, hindsight's always 20/20. Anybody who's lived a little life, hindsight's always 20/20. We make decisions in our life sometimes we wish we wouldn't have done, like maybe buying a vehicle or something of that nature, to where, I bought a Mercedes one time, instantly regretted it. Within a week, instantly regretted it. This was back when I lived in Nashville doing the music thing on the business side. I had a Z71 fully loaded Z71 Chevrolet 4x4, and it was awesome. It was a crew cab, and then boom, drove by a lot one day, saw this little Mercedes, and got to thinking, oh, that imagery will go on my business suit and my tie and all this other stuff. And within a week, I was over that Mercedes. When I went to go deer hunting that year, it instantly sank in. Where's my truck? Then I was what? Stuck with what? A Mercedes. All right. So we all make decisions, right, that we have to live with. And those are decisions that you can learn to live with because it wasn't no harm, no foul, right? But then you have people out there who are criminals, right? They're outright criminals. And then we in society, we deem what is right, what's wrong, what's moral, what's not, what's etiquette, what's not, what's protocol, what's not. We all deem that. Rules, procedures, regulations, the good kind of regulations, not the other kind, but like military regulations. They're basically rules and procedures and protocols and etiquette. We all deem that, right? That's why every man and woman, American, have to be what? Involved. Involved how? Family, friends, community, neighborhood, town, city, town hall, city hall, all these other things. We have to do that. But then you have to do what? You have to have a pretty decent mind. You don't need to come in there yelling, cussing, screaming, and all these other things. You need to come in there just cool, calm, collected. Now, you know, we all have our days. I know I had mine on August 24, 2022, when a liberal got in the comment box, and then I let them have it, and it became known as the rant. And that's what put me in your screen, in your phone, in your laptop. That's what brought me here. The rant. All right, because I did. And we're all human. All right, but there's things in history that are bigger than others. There's things that are bigger than others in our world. God, I believe, sees them probably differently. But in our world down here, we separate murder from theft. We separate theft from a lie. All right, and we all make those different punishment levels. All right. So then you have things that you've all lived through, we've all lived through in the last 35 years. It's called drama and propaganda. Drama and propaganda. Drama and propaganda are what builds what? Narratives, but it also builds narrative for a group and or an individual and or a couple people to do what? Most of the time. Not all the time, but most of the time. Make money. And then you conquer, divide, conquer, divide. Conquer, divide. What's up, everybody?
Okay, I got 2 more 5-minute DJs and then 3 of the TikTok lady, hers videos from today. I'll wrap everything up.
Waltz and other Democrats, they are suddenly scrambling after fresh video leaks that throw yet another wrench into the narrative they thought they had locked down. Because apparently facts just never seem to land on the left side. And in a moment that's stranger than fiction, The View actually admits the agents involved in the deadly shooting of Alex Preddy now have something to build a case on after new evidence emerges. And trust me, this development, it didn't come with a group hug. Plus, a Somali woman goes viral claiming she was abused by ICE, but hold on to that thought because in the biggest plot twist of the week, Pam Bondi somehow walks away with the last laugh. I'll explain how that happened. And later, remember this wild video from Fulton County, Georgia, back in 2020? It had Republicans seeing red. The FBI just seized election records there, and I'm going to explain to you why this old tape is suddenly relevant again. Like, share with your friends and family. Also subscribe if you're new here, and welcome. Well, after watching the video I'm about to show you, I'm starting to better understand why President Trump called Governor Tim Walz the R word. Imagine this guy anywhere near the White House. Actually, don't do that. I would normally argue that he should have probably stuck to coaching football, but at this point, I'm not even sure he should be working with children. And the wild part in all this, he wasn't the only one choosing to humiliate himself. Elizabeth Warren, she jumped in too, delivering one of the most unintentionally embarrassing tributes you will hear all week. Watch this. Democrats seem to be dead wrong on every issue. Like it's the only thing they're actually consistent at. Over at CNN, they even tried to claim Alex Preddy was someone I'd want one of my daughters to bring home. Turns out Anna didn't actually have all the videos because in this one, Preddy's clearly egging on federal agents, daring them to react. And if this is what decent human beings look like to the left, then their moral compass isn't just broken, it is spinning out of control. Unfortunately for Anna, once this video hit the internet, she had to sit there and listen while Scott Jennings set the record straight. Tim Walz proved.
Okay, that was a good one for today.
On off the deep end. TSA lines are a nightmare. So Trump sends ICE in to actually help. And Jeffries decides the real danger isn't chaos at the airport. It's that ICE might actually do their jobs. He's basically telling his troops to stir up another spectacle, like in Minneapolis, where a stunt like this ended with 2 Americans dead because some people thought defying law enforcement was heroic. Meanwhile, over at NBC, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, he snaps. He stares down Kristen Welker and basically says, your research team needs to be fired yesterday. And then he calmly explains why the media's narrative about Trump and Putin is, well, completely bonkers. Let me know down below if you think adding ICE to help TSA lines is a smart idea, or will it only add to the chaos? Like the video, subscribe if you haven't, and welcome to all our new faces here. We are thrilled you are joining the party where common sense and sarcasm collide with the latest political headlines. Let's get into it. Tensions are exploding at airports nationwide as TSA lines stretch for hours thanks to a government shutdown caused by Democrats refusing to fund DHS. And what do we get? Absolute chaos, like watching a toddler wrestling match at MSY International Airport. Check out this footage of a New Orleans sheriff's deputy absolutely losing it on travelers who were fighting while waiting in a 3-hour TSA line. This guy sounds exactly like dad on a 12-hour road trip, right? When the kids are brawling in the back seat. Act like children. Don't be surprised when someone has to step up and be the adult in the room. And as President Trump reminds us, you can thank the Democrats for all of this mess. The Democrats are willing to go to the mat for illegal immigrants. But guess who always ends up bruised in these wrestling matches? The American people, you. Well, enter Trump, who loves to think outside the box. So he orders ICE agents to step in and fill the gaps at the airports getting hit the hardest. A practical and partial solution to the problem. But of course, the media already laying the groundwork for the narrative. Brace yourself.
Okay, one more with Aaron, and we got the last 5 minutes with Derek.
The Democrats have never called President Trump racist. And the guy making that claim, oh, I've got his extra receipts. Spoiler alert, the truth is way more interesting than he thinks. But wait, it gets even better. Hours later, the Black community showed up to defend the president, and Grandma stepped up with a mic drop moment so powerful, your jaw's going to hit the floor and you're going to be cheering at your TV like you just scored the winning touchdown. Meanwhile, Stephen A. Smith is absolutely losing it over rumors that his own party might stage a walkout during Trump's State of the Union address next week. Apparently, adulting is optional if you're a politician. And across the pond, former Prince Andrew just got arrested for his ties to Jeffrey Epstein, a story Trump already blew the whistle on back in 2015. Smash that like button if you're loving some long overdue accountability, and share this video with your friends and family. Also, I've got a bonus clip for you at the end of today's video. The Chicago Bears, they're apparently scheduling a U-Haul, and the governor and mayor, they're not handling it well. All right, let's dive into our top story. In a truly shocking display of journalistic amnesia, Ed O'Keefe bravely stepped up at yesterday's press briefing ahead of President Trump's Black History Month celebration and asked this. Oh, Ed, sweet, historically challenged Ed. I did what apparently no one in that press room thought to try. I scrolled, just a little light fingertip workout. And guess what? The internet doesn't forget. It doesn't misplace receipts. It doesn't suddenly develop selective memory loss 5 minutes before a press briefing. So let's enter into evidence exhibit A. Ed O'Keefe, cross-examined by Ed O'Keefe. In 2019, Ed himself posted, quote, watch, President Trump receives backlash and support over his racist tweets. The mainstream media, they just got absolutely roasted.
Okay, you got to clear all those off. Last two, you guys. This one's from the 4th. I don't think I played this one.
Biden would continue in order like that? Do you really think Joe Biden would hammer his own presidency if you thought he was real? Because that's what that would be. And that would be the collection of the actual forensics of the votes. That would be your actual action
4
part.
minutes.
That would be the troops getting the forensics of the actual count, because we work on analog, not digital. The lawful side is Executive Order 13848 with a national emergency that President Trump declared September the 12th, 2018, which would be your lawful side. Why would quote unquote Joe continue that executive order for 4 years in a row just to hand back to President Trump on January the 20th, 2025? Thank you, Gav. By the way, The Midnight Rider, Part 1, Part 2, still #1 bestsellers. Independent, no publisher. They're the chronological order of the 45-47. I'm the only one and will forever be the only one because President Trump also signed an executive order for intellectual property. So be careful who you follow out there. Don't listen to all the idiots out there who say a bunch of trash, all the accusations, false accusations. Not one person has taken one single law and debunked it. Oh, but they'll talk about you. They'll say you're sleeping with every woman in every state. You're a this, you're a that. You've done this, you did that. Not one time has anybody tried to sue because they ain't got shit. And they ain't ever going to have shit because there ain't no shit. So like I tell people with that old rap song, don't start no shit, there won't be no shit. Well, that's exactly what you probably need to listen to because I have a clean record, a clean background. And for 3 years now, I've been public. I've spoken all over the nation. All right, was in 45 states in 2 months. Never once have I hid my name or my face. My real name is my actual birth name. So don't start no shit. There won't be no shit, right? So come on. It's like Rocky says in the movie, I'm going to bust you up. Well, go for it. Come on. What you got? Go for it. All these accusations. So be careful who you follow. A lot of people follow drama, propaganda. If somebody had something on me, 1, the FBI would have been on my door already because of what all I've said. 2, all kinds of other law enforcement would have been on my door. So come on with it. You ain't got nothing. That's why you got to talk trash, because you ain't nothing. The other thing I want to say too is when I give someone a shout out, that's not a endorsement. All right, so be careful with that too as well. Shout outs do not mean endorsements. And a lot of people trying to attach your name to my name for monetary value. And I don't stand for that. All right. Now, there's a way to be a good person. There's a way to make money in a sense of capitalism. But it's not when people are trying to act like they are a part of the operation. They attach their name to my name. I don't share anybody's stuff. I also don't share anybody's names. When I go on podcasts, we've already gone through all these people. They have been validated, all right? And they're authentic as well. But so many people right now are wanting to be a part of something. That's fine. You want to be a part of something. But if you'll notice, I don't share people's material. I don't share people's pages for a reason. Because this is a military operation. The laws and the orders outline that. If you don't like the laws and orders, first off, you got to know laws and orders to either like them or not like them. 2, if you think there's something wrong or you think I'm saying something that ain't accurate, then you need to go take the information, read that, study that, comprehend that, and then get on your little platform and tell how the laws don't mean what the laws mean and the orders ain't the visuals that you see those troops under.
Okay, you guys, our last one, we'll finish off with DJ, about 5 minutes, I think. Oh, wait. I think I got all of them in. I'm going to play, let's see what one we can finish off with. Let's finish off with this one here. 3 minutes. This one guy on Telegram.
Wants to take out you know who. And leader of Iran, if you're seeing this for any reason, I just want you to know that most of us are rooting for you. Actually, but I think most of us would like it to be kind of slow and painful. if you wouldn't mind. Okay. Go get him, bud.
You cannot threaten, and you can't even look like you're threatening a president of the. I'm not even sure that you can even get away with this when it comes to like a local elected official. Like, you can't do it with a mayor. You can't do this with a governor. You can't do it with a city council person. You can't do it with a superintendent. You can't do it with a township supervisor, let alone a president of the United States of America. And it's so much wrong with this, but we're going to mine it out and we're going to take our time. It's so much wrong with this because, first of all, she fits the stereotype. Middle-aged, white woman, overly liberal, and they gave her a camera phone. And so when she learned how to use a camera phone, she thought it would be cute for her to record herself and then rewatch it and say, you know what, this video makes sense. Hit the upload button, send it. And now she's on TikTok and all of the other social media platforms, apparently trying to delete all of the videos. Of course, she tried to delete this one once she started getting motion. But the one thing that these people don't understand is that once somebody see it, before they ever even type a comment about it, they've already downloaded the video, right? So I was just able to easily go on and pull up the video. And of course, I always like to leave credit to the content creator, not because I'm against them, not because I'm for them, but because that's the right thing to do. I always like to leave credit to the content creator, regardless of whether I agree with them or not, because, you know, I think that people need to give the original credit to the person. But now she's trying to erase everything. And how many times have we seen this? We are not new to social media. Social media is relatively in its infancy as far as looking at it as a developed industry compared to other places where people post and make money and market and e-commerce and all of this stuff. But social media is a relatively new industry, but it's not so new that we don't know better on what to do. More importantly, I think that this is awesome because it exposes exactly who people really are and what their real goal and objectives are. They hate America. Liberal white women hate this country.
Okay, that was an important one. I thought I'll bet everyone like that one there to finish the show. Yep, we got 3 over. You know, I don't want to overdo myself, so keep it at 3 o'clock. My old time I did. So if anything breaks, I'll be on, you guys, and developing news. So everybody have a good Monday night. And thanks, Mods, Kay, Lucy, Carol went shopping today. Finally go. So we'll see what happens. Tomorrow's April 7th, so we probably, who knows what's going to happen. Day by day. So God bless everybody all. Remember, please hit the like and subscribe to the backup channel. Thank you, and stay safe, stay strong, keep the faith, and never give up. And another day or Intel, and the sun's shining in. So signing off, Chico and Doom for another day of Intel, guys, and see you tomorrow.